نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين آمين. Today we begin juz number 12. Juz number 12 begins from the ayah number 6 of Surah Al-Hud, but there's only like 5 ayat that were covered in Juz 11. So Juz 11 ended with the start of Surah Hud. So just to maintain the flow of the verses, I will just review the first 5 verses, Surah Hud, and then we'll continue with Juz number 12 of this, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Ra. كتاب أحكمت آياته ثم فصلت من لدن حكيم خبير. Alif Lam Ra. This is a book whose verses are perfected and then presented in detail from one who is wise and acquainted. ثم كتاب أحكمت آياته. ثم فصلت. فصلت is further explained in actually Surah Al-Imran as well, that in Quran there are 2 kinds of ayat. You have muhkamat and mutashabihat. Fussilat means the verses are clear. The muhkamat are clear and they're full of wisdom. And the implication of the verses is such so that as if it is guaranteed through experience that they will strengthen you. They're free of deficiency. There is no injustice in them. There's no doubt in them. They're full of hikmah. What is hikmah? Hikmah, there's something called knowledge, and hikmah is to apply that knowledge at its right time, in the right dosage, in the right frequency, in the right tone. So the Quranic verses are full of hikmah, meaning the places where they come at, the sequence of verses, the content of verses, the guidance in those verses are perfect for that place and perfect within themselves. Why are they perfect? Min ladun hakim and khabir, because they have been presented in detail from who? The one who is the most hakim and the most khabir. And who is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why are they so clear? Allah ta'budu illallah. So do not, through a messenger saying, do not worship except Allah. إنني لكم منه نذير وبين. إنني لكم منه نذير وبشير. Do not worship except Allah. Indeed, I am to you from Him a warner and a bringer of good tidings. This is the message of all the Rasuls, all the messengers. Then, what is the other message of the Quran? And what is it that the messengers consistently, repeatedly tell all their nations, which is وَأَنِ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ, and saying, seek forgiveness of your Lord. ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ, and repent to Him. If you will do that, if you seek forgiveness and you repent. So there are 2 things. Repentance includes forgiveness, but seeking forgiveness is not entirely repentance. Repentance is that you are sorry about something, and then you do an action to do something to erase what you had done before. Meaning, you hurt someone, you got into an accident, you just saying sorry is not enough, right? Sometimes sorry is not enough. Now there's an action needed. You need to fulfill the damage that your car caused to the other person, or if there was a health issue, you have to pay for their health expenses. That is basically tawbah. That you apologize, you recognize you made a mistake, there's a verbal and effort from your part to recognize you're wrong, and there's your heart is guilty that you did something wrong, so much guilty that the istighfar leads you to the tawbah, that now you're going to do something to recover that, or to balance the damage somehow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, seek forgiveness of your Lord and repent to Him. What does that mean? That when we do something wrong, just saying istighfar is not enough. There needs to be an istighfar of the heart and the istighfar of the actions. And when we do that, يُمَتِّعُكُمْ مَتَاعًا حَسَنًا إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُسَمًّى, He will let you enjoy a good provision for a specific time. This is the advantage of istighfar in dunya. that even in dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you for a mata'an hasanan, will bless you with a beautiful provision, beautiful rizq. Mata' is equivalent to rizq. وَيُؤْتِ كُلَّ ذِي فَضْلٍ فَضْلَهُ, and give every doer of favor his favor. وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ كَبِيرٍ. But if you turn away, then indeed I fear for you the punishment of the great day. Now, amongst the benefits of making istighfar our habit, and from what we learn from ahadith, is this, that the rizq increases when your istighfar increases. There's more barakah in little amount when you are constantly seeking istighfar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get the peace of the heart, right? And then according to another ayah in the Quran, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not send down punishment upon a nation as long as there are people within that nation seeking istighfar. Then just like sadaqah, sadaqah is known from the ahadith that we know that it evades, it detours the difficulties in your life. The difficulties that are written in your life, in your qadr, they turn away when you give sadaqah. Just like that, when you seek a lot of istighfar, istighfar can also cause the gear of the masa'ib, the gear of the musibah, away from you. So inshallah, we learn that we have to be constantly, inshallah, develop the habit of seeking istighfar. إِلَى اللَّهِ مَرْجِعُكُمْ وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. To Allah is your return, and He is over all things competent. Now, ayah number 5 is talking about hypocrites, and this ayah was revealed at a time when hypocrites actually had some demands from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about that their hearts are filled with malice and they're blazing with enmity, right? And their hearts are filled with enmity, but they have a cover up. They have a cover of good person on them. They have a cover of a good believer on them. But it's very hard to detect who is a true believer because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in our hearts. So what does this ayat say? Unquestionably, they, the disbelievers, turn away their chests to hide themselves from him. Meaning the hypocrites turn their hearts away from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam so that they can hide what's in their hearts. Unquestionably, even when they cover themselves in their clothing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, even when you cover, whatever you can cover yourself with, Allah knows what they conceal. مَا يُسِرُّونَ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ. Allah knows what they conceal and what they declare. Indeed, He is knowing of what He knows what is in the chest, because He possesses the knowledge of what's in the hearts. Now, this applies in our daily life as well. إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. A lot of times, we do this, that we don't like someone, but we pretend to like them, and we put a fake smile on. The person might be oblivious to the fact that we actually don't like that person, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what we truly feel for that person in our heart. We can fool people in this dunya, but we cannot fool Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, we can be fooled by the people. There are some people in this dunya who have the skill where they can mask their true emotions and true feelings and can deceive you, right? And a lot of times that deception can come through friends, and a lot of times the deception can come through family or at workplace, right? So, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who truly knows what is in someone's hearts. And in this ayah, He's recognizing, He's telling us that they will be able to cover themselves so clearly, like so beautifully, their true intentions, that you can't figure out whether they are truly a well-wisher or they actually hate you. You can't tell it apart. Who can tell it apart? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just like Allah's knowledge is so wide with the human, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how humans work and what the thoughts are going in their hearts, He is aware of every creature on the earth. وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. And there is no creature on earth but that upon Allah is its provision, meaning there's every single creature, whether it be in the skies, in the heavens, it is a tiny microscopic insect, animal on the land or the sea or the birds in the sky. Allah's knowledge extends to every living being that walks the earth or flies in the heavens. وَيَعْلَمُ مُسْتَقَرَّهَا وَمُسْتَوْدَعَهَا. and He knows its place of dwelling and place of storage. All is in clear register. كل في كتاب مبين. What is this كتاب مبين? This is referring to Lawh Mahfuz. According to what do we learn from this ayah? We learn that we should do tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we panic because we don't know where our rizq is coming from, where it's going to go. But Allah is saying that He's the one who provides rizq to even the tiniest insects hidden under the rock. The fish that is hidden in the depths of the sea, He provides rizq to them. So He will provide it to you as well. And according to hadith of Rasulullah, he said that if you do tawakkul on Allah, the way it is His haqq to do tawakkul on Him, then you will also be provided rizq, just like He provides the rizq to the birds. When they wake up in the morning, they are hungry, but when they return to their nests at night, they are full. But we lack this tawakkul. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ. And it is He who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and His throne had been upon water. So, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised His throne up into the heavens, before the creation of the heavens and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh was on water. So, one of the first creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is water. And according to hadith of Rasulullah, it is further clarified that Allah was, and before Him there was nothing. And His throne was on the water. And then He created heavens and the earth. And then He got everything written in Lawh Mahfuz. And it is He who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. And His throne had been upon water, that He might test you as to which of you is in best deed. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. This is the purpose of creation. What is the purpose of creation? It has been mentioned in this ayah, and it is mentioned again in Surah Al-Mulk. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ, so that He may try you, He may analyze you, He may test you, that which one amongst you will do the good deed. Which one of you is best indeed? Not best in beauty, not best in wealth, not best in house, not best in designer clothes, not best in education, but best in deeds. وَلَئِنْ قُلْتَ إِنَّكُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ مِنْ بَعْدِ الْمَوْتِ. But if you say, indeed, you are resurrected after death, those who disbelieve will surely say, this is not but obvious magic. وَلَئِنْ أَخَرْنَا عَنْهُمُ الْعَذَابَ إِلَى أُمَّةٍ مَعْدُودَةٍ. And if we hold back from them the punishment for a limited time, they will surely say, what detains it? Meaning when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holds back the punishment, they will surely say, what detains it? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responding to those who doubt resurrection punishment in this ayah, that unquestionably on the day it comes to them, it will be averted, it will not be averted from them, and they will be enveloped by what they used to ridicule. Meaning whatever they used to make fun about and criticize, they will be enveloped in that punishment. And then from in ayah number 9 to 10, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the ungrateful behavior of human beings, the human fallacy, the temperamental nature of man, the fickle-mindedness, the hastiness, the impulsiveness of the man. What does He say? And if we give man a taste of mercy from us, وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنَّا رَحْمَةً. A taste of mercy, not a full platter, just a touch of mercy comes to him. ثُمَّ نَزَعْنَاهَا مِنْهُ. And then we withdraw it from him, meaning we give him ease, he's living a good life, and then after, just for a little while, we test him with a bit of difficulty. We just take away what he's tasting. What does he start doing? إِنَّهُ لَيَئُوسٌ كَفُورٌ. He's despairing and he becomes ungrateful. I mean, man takes present to be everything. Allah blessed him before, so He can bless him again. But instead of having this positive, optimistic attitude for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he do? The man starts despairing. Humans start despairing. He doesn't realize that the difficulty, the financial difficulty, the difficulty with children. I mean, right now your children are young, when the children are old, they're all different phases of life that come. And each phase of life brings its own taste of a difficulty. But that taste of difficulty comes after some kind of blessing. You have been enjoying the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. But when we're in the state of this, when we're tried, what do? We fall into despair and we act like as if we never were blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّهُ لَيَئُوسٌ كَفُورٌ وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَاهُ نَعَمًا. But if we give him a taste of favor after hardship has touched him, he will surely say, bad times have left me. Indeed, he is exultant and boastful. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes the difficulty and brings him back to khair and rahmah, what is his attitude? Is his attitude of shukr and tawbah? No. What do most people do? إِنَّهُ لَفَرِحٌ فَخُورٌ. Then he becomes boastful. He uses the same wealth he uses the same wealth in disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He starts boasting about his good life as if he forgets that he was just tried by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the nature of a man. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this is something that we need to change. He's just okay. A lot of people say this. I get this question that if this is how we are made, then why are we questioning about that? No, this is a pattern which we do, and Allah is telling us that fix that pattern, because the next ayah talks about those people who recover from this pattern, who come out of this pattern and do shukr and sabr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in difficulty and in ease. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? إِلَّا الَّذِينَ, except for those. Yes, generally most of the people act this way, but there are a few people who don't act this way. Why? What do they do? إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. Except for those who are patient and do righteous deeds, those will have forgiveness and great reward. Two things are mentioned. الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا, those who are patient. On what? Patient on what? What does patience mean? Patience means to tie, to check, to stop, to hold back. And it means to be patient on the calamity that comes, and also to hold the nafs back from disobedience, from impermissible act, and to also hold the nafs back from crying out too much in despair. And then the sabr is paired with another thing, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those two people who have sabr and the quality of amal salih, they are the ones lahum maghfirah. They will have maghfirah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ajrun kabir, and a huge reward. According to hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if any one of you is struck by a calamity, by a difficulty, something came upon you, somebody died in your family, let's say, or you lost your business, you lost your job, or your children are disobedient, or your husband is not the way you thought he would be. I mean, these are all the musibah, these are all the kinds of difficulties that we encounter in life, right? Any kind of difficulty. If any one of you is struck by a calamity, let him remember my affliction, for it was amongst the greater of calamities. Meaning, let him remember the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the life of Rasulullah was the most difficult life. Then, according to another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that except two things you dislike. What does he say? They accept two things that you dislike in life. One is death and one is poverty. And it is true, we don't like death. We don't like poverty. We don't want to die. And it's very hard for us when somebody in our family dies. So Rasulullah ﷺ has advised us that except two things you dislike, death and poverty, by Allah. There is nothing but richness and poverty, and I do not care which one of them I am put to trial with. Meaning, I don't care whether I'm put to trial with richness or poverty, because being rich is also a test from Allah. So I do not care by which one of them I'm put to trial, for the right of Allah, for the haqq of Allah in each of these trials must be fulfilled. If it is richness, if I'm tried by richness, then the haqq of Allah is that I appreciate him, I do his shukr. If it is in poverty, meaning if I'm tried by poverty, then the haqq of Allah is what? And it is patience, then I do sabr. فَلَعَلَّكَ تَارِكٌ بَعْدَ مَا يُوحَى. Now this ayah number 12 is revealed based on a particular event. The mushriks of Makkah placed a couple of demands on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of their issues was, one of the issues they came up was that the Quran disrespects their gods. They said that our idols have been disrespected, maligned in the Quran, so we cannot believe in it because, it's disrespecting our gods and their abilities. So they asked Rasulullah ﷺ that you should bring some other Quran or alter it, improve the Quran by making alterations in it so it's not so harsh towards our gods. So it's not harsh towards our ideologies. So it's like not so extreme or rigid when it comes to our way of life. Like mellow it down a bit, soften the Quran a bit. Subhanallah. Does that remind you of some of the claims of the people in the West? That we need to modify the Quran a little bit because it's a bit harsh, right? And anybody who tries to follow the deen to the letter, we start calling them rigid or a terrorist or extremist. Don't be an extremist in the deen. A lot of people, even the Muslims, I hear this from the Muslims as well, not just non-Muslims. But this was the same request asked by the mushrikeen of Mecca. So a food for thought for us. The second request they made, they're like, okay, we will believe in you, O Prophet, as the Prophet of God, but you don't look like a Prophet of God because you are very poor. So bring a treasure fit for a king. Meaning, if you're truly the God's prophet, then you should have treasures fit to be a king that no other king has had ever. So these were the two main audacious or absurd demands they made to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it saddened Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He became a bit sad and upset because for a moment and while he was upset, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this ayah saying, then would you possibly leave out some of what is revealed to you? Meaning just to compromise with them, just to make them happy. You're going to take out some of the deen from the Quran. You're going to change it. You're going to mellow it down. You're going to dilute its verses because they appear harsh to them. Or is your breast constrained by it because they say, why has there not been sent down to him a treasure or come with him an angel? But you're only a warner, and Allah is disposer of all things. Bottom line is, Quran cannot be changed. We cannot mellow it down. And remember, the Surah Hud started with Fussilat ayatuhu, like the ayat are filled with hikmah. If there's harshness, there's hikmah. If there's ease in it, there's hikmah. If there's softness in the ayah, it's hikmah. Each and every aspect of the Quran is full of wisdom. So their claim doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what other people say about the Quran or about Islam being rigid or harsh or extreme. Let them say. This is not the first time anybody has said anything about Quran like that. It has been going on since the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we should not mind it so much. Or do they say he invented it? Meaning, do they say that Rasulullah invented the Quran? Say that Allah is saying, قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِعَشْرٍ سُوَرٍ مِثْلِهِ. Then bring 10 surahs like it, meaning give them an open challenge that if you think the Quran can be invented, Quran is the product of a human, then bring 10 surahs like it, has it been invented, and call upon for assistance whoever you can call besides Allah, if you should be truthful. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ. And if they do not respond to you, then know that the Quran was revealed with the knowledge of Allah. I mean, obviously, clearly, they're not going to come back to you with another Quran because they possibly can't. So believe that this is the revelation from Allah. فَعَلَمُوا أَنَّمَا أُنزِلَ بِعِلْمِ اللَّهِ. Then know that the Quran has been revealed with the knowledge of Allah, بِعِلْمِ اللَّهِ وَأَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ, and that there is no deity except Him. فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Then would you not be Muslims? It's a question for all of us. Are we still doubting the authenticity of the Quran? Are we still doubting the authenticity of the Quran? Because if we are not truly the Muslims that we're supposed to be, then there's doubts about this kitab. If you get a letter from the government of Canada, stamped, an authentic letter, saying that they will put you in jail in a month if you don't pay this much amount, do you believe it? Why? Because there's a stamp of the government on there. And that paper will freak you out so much that you would want to do everything to submit to the demands of that paper. Allah has sent down the whole Quran in truth. And He asks this question, are you still doubtful? You say, no, I'm not doubtful. But your actions show that you're doubtful. فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. then would you not be Muslims? What are you waiting for? What more proof you need to submit truly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in ayah number 15 and 16 talks about the kind of people who desire the life of this dunya. And they do good deeds in this dunya. The kind of people we see often, sometimes we see some non-Muslims and we are like, hey, they are such good people. They're doing so much charity and generosity. And within the Muslims as well, sometimes we see a lot of people who appear to be good. Remember, in Surah Hud beginning, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? I know what's in the hearts and you don't know what's in the hearts. So relate this ayah to that. He knows what's in the hearts. We don't. So he's telling us there are some people who are going to appear to be doing a lot of good deeds, but their intention of doing that good deed was what? To seek a benefit in this dunya. So he says in ayah number 15 and 16, whoever desires the life of this world and its adornments, we fully repay them for the good deeds therein, and they therein will not be deprived. أولئك الذين ليس لهم في الآخرة إلا النار. Those are the ones for whom there is not in the hereafter anything but the fire. Meaning they will only get fire as a reward. And loss is what they did therein, and worthless is what they used to do. Meaning that amal are based on niyyah. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Allah, like apparently somebody is appearing very pious to us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that no, they are seeking hayatud dunya wa zinataha. Man kana yuridu al-hayat ad-dunya wa zinataha. If your good actions, your intention was to have dunya, you will have dunya. But if your intention is to have akhirah, you will get akhirah. If your intention for charity is so that your name will be registered in the masjid board, you will get that in the dunya. If your intention for doing a feast of fasting is so that people will applaud you, or so that you can pay off the debt of somebody else who invited you for dinner, then that is the reward you will get. You will not have a recompense in akhirah for it. What is the true intention behind me doing anything out of khair? Do I want to be known as a good person in the world? Do I want people to respect me? Is that why I live a good life? Is that why I make good choices in public? Now, this ayah is universally applying to Muslims and non-Muslims together, both of these ayat. And in a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, those who devoted themselves to acts of worship in this dunya, to look respectable and to look pious before others, will be brought forth on the day of Qiyamah. They will be the first ones to be brought forth on the day of Qiyamah. It would be said to them, you said your prayers. You did all your prayers. You give your charity. You fought in jihad. You recited the Quran. But you did all of that with the intention that you should be known as a righteous person, so that you should be known as someone devoted to prayers. You should be known as a charitable person. You should be known as a martyr and great reciter of Quran. Since that's what you wanted, you have had that in the dunya, meaning we made you known as such and such in the dunya. Now you have had what you wanted to have. The honors that you were looking for have already come to you in the dunya. Now there is no return. There is nothing for you in akhirah for your deeds. And these people would be the first one to be thrown in the hellfire. While Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu was reporting this hadith, he broke into tears and said and quoted this verse, Man kana yuridul hayat dunya. And he said, this hadith confirms this ayah number 15. In Sahih Muslim, Anas radiallahu anhu reported, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that Allah does no injustice to anyone. Meaning, if somebody is doing something good in this dunya, Allah will not do injustice to them. For the good deed a believer does, he gets some return for it in this dunya. Meaning, and even if you do a good deed with pure intention for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is so amazing. He's somebody who really cherishes our tiny good deeds too, that he even rewards us, gives us a share of the reward in the dunya as well. We see ease in our life because of our good actions as well. Like sadaqah, we just talked about it, that sadaqah evades difficulties. Istighfar evades difficulties. So that's a good intention done for the sake of Allah. You will get a portion of the khair even in this dunya. So the hadith continues that for the good deed a believer does, he gets some return for it in this dunya, while gets the real reward in the hereafter. As for a kafir, his account is cleared, meaning his balance is checked with his life in this dunya. The return for his good deeds, the recompense for his good deeds, if any, is given to him in the form of worldly wealth, meaning Allah will give him multiple returns in his wealth in the dunya, and or he will become very famous. So he will get his return in the form of worldly wealth, recognition, fame, health, and comfort. Subhanallah al-Azim. So when we do see, so you have to keep this in mind, Allah is not zalim. All right? We have to fix our intention. We have to see, why am I doing something? And struggle with intention is going to be a constant journey. You might start something with a good intention, but in the middle of it, your intention might get corrupted, because this is what Shaitan intends. Shaitan wants to waste our good deeds that we work so hard to earn. Whoever desires the life of this world and its adornments, we fully repay them for the good deeds therein, and that therein will not be deprived. Those are the ones for whom there is not in the hereafter but the fire, and loss is what they did therein, and worthless is what they used to do. Now from ayah number 17 to 22, the state of disbelievers is mentioned. So is one who stands upon a clear evidence from his Lord, like the aforementioned, and a witness from him follows it, and before it was the scripture of Moses to lead and as mercy. Those believers in the former revelations believe in the Quran, but whoever disbelieves in it from the various factions, the fire is his promised destination. وَمَن يَكْفُرْ بِهِ, whoever disbelieves, whoever does kufr, مِنَ الْأَحْزَابِ فَالنَّارُ مَعِيدَهُ, the fire is his promised destination. So be not in doubt about it. Indeed, it is the truth from your Lord, but most of the people do not believe. And who is more unjust than he who invents a lie about Allah? Those will be presented before their Lord, and the witness will say, these are the ones who lied against their Lord. Unquestionably, the curse of Allah is upon the disbelievers, upon the wrongdoers. La'natullahi ala zalimin. La'ana, the curse of Allah is upon the zalimeen. Who are those zalimeen? What incurs the curse of Allah? What incurs the la'natullah? الَّذِينَ يَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, who averted people from the way of Allah and sought to make it seem deviant. وَيَبْغُونَهَا عِوَجًا, and they constantly tried to make the deen doubtful. They started planting doubts in people's minds. Deviant while they concerning the hereafter were disbelievers. أُولَٰئِكَ لَمْ يَكُونُوا مُعْجِزِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, those were not causing failure to Allah on earth, meaning by their petty efforts of destroying the sanctity of the deen and distracting the youth and the people away from the deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying they cannot cause failure to Allah. They cannot make Allah ajiz, mu'jizeen. They cannot do that. Nor did they have besides Allah any protectors. For them the punishment will be multiplied. يُضَاعَفُ لَهُمُ الْعَذَابُ, multiplied punishment. Why? Because they did two things. They did not just stop people from the deen. First of all, they did not practice the deen themselves. Then they stopped people from practicing the deen. And sometimes as Muslims, we fall into this category because let's say we ourselves are not that religious, but our child is becoming more religious. So we panic and we are stopping our children from becoming religious. Does that not happen in society? A lot of youth comes to me and complains about it, that the parents are very cultural and they are stopping. And sometimes we stop our children from getting married because we have put these injunctions of dowry and injunctions of that you must have a car, you must have a job, you must have this, you must be this many years old. And we kind of push our children unintentionally into committing more sin. That is yasudduna an sabilillah. That is stopping someone from the deen of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and then they plant doubts in people's minds. This is why يُضَاعَفُ لَهُمُ الْعَذَابُ, their punishment will be multiplied and they will not be able to hear nor did they see. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ, those are the ones who will have lost themselves, and lost from them is what they used to invent. Assuredly, for sure, it is they in the hereafter who will be the greatest losers. لَا جَرَمَ أَنَّهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ هُمُ الْأَخْسَرُونَ. And then in ayah number 23, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the state of believers in contrast to the state of disbelievers that we just learned. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds. Iman wa amal wa salih. Iman alone is nothing. Iman is a verb. It is activated by righteous deeds. Just saying, I believe in Allah or I love in Allah doesn't work. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ and وَأَخْبَتُوا إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ. And what else do these people do? أَخْبَتُوا إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ. They humbled themselves to their Lord. They had humility in them. أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. They're not proud people. They're not people who find it hard to accept their mistakes. They're not people who can't handle somebody criticizing them. They have ikhbat in them. They have humility in them. أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. They are the people from Jannah. هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. And they will stay in it forever. Then ayah number 24. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a comparison of the two people that he mentioned, the state of disbelievers and state of believers, and putting them together and saying, مَثَلُ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ كَالْأَعْمَى وَالْأَصَمِّ وَالْبَصِيرِ وَالسَّمِيعِ. The example of the two parties, the two parties meaning the ones in الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا and الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. The two parties is like the blind and the deaf and the seeing and the hearing. Are they equal in comparison? Then will you not remember? أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ? Do you not understand? The thing is, the life of a believer has to be different from the life of a disbeliever. If there isn't much of a difference between the way we live our life and the way a non-Muslim lives their lives, then we really need to evaluate our lifestyle. A believer has to stand out. A believer is distinct in its way, in its conduct, in its standing, in its sitting, in his walking, in his eating, in his talking, in his preaching, in his business, in his conduct, in his akhlaq, in everything. A believer stands out. A believer's lifestyle cannot be the same as the lifestyle of a non-believer. Then from here, ayah number 25 until 27 onwards, the story of Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned again. We got the glimpse of the story in Surah Al-A'raf when we were learning. I have to tell you something. You probably would feel the translations, the injustice that the translations do with the ayats of the Quran is this. That the Quranic stories come in the Quran as flashes. They're like flashbacks. Have you ever seen a movie? That movie is entirely based on flashes, like a story would be going on and then a flash from the past will come in and the flash from the future will come into the movie. What does that movie do? It keeps you engaged. You're trying to figure out what's going on. So the Quran's style of narrating the story is very similar to that. It gives you flash episodes of an instance, and then it goes to a different instance, and then it comes back to a different instance to keep the audience engaged. And it's very beautifully manifested in the Arabic language. Because we don't have enough time to go into the depth of it, the translation seems like the story is being repeated. But the way the story is being repeated, the words, the Arabic words that are being in the sentence, the structure, it gives us so many lessons, subhanallah al-azim, full of hikmah and wisdom. Again, what we learned in the beginning of Surah Al-Hud. So Nuh alayhi salam's story, now different aspect of that story further will be clarified in these ayat. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. And we had certainly sent Nuh to his people, saying, indeed, I am to you a clear warner. Meaning that is what Nuh alayhi salam said to his people. أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. That do not worship anyone except Allah. إِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ أَلِيمٍ. Indeed, I fear for you a painful punishment. Remember we talked about that Nuh alayhi salam's time was when his nation started worshipping idols. And there were 5 famous righteous people that they turned into idols after their death, and Shaitan advised them to turn them to idols. So we covered that. So the 5 idols that they used to worship, their names were Wad, Suwa, Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr. These were the 5 righteous people in their time who, when passed away, they turned them into idols and started worshipping them after that. So when Nuh alayhi salam advised his people that stop worshipping these idols and only exclusively worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people replied, فَقَالَ الْمَلَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. So the eminent among those who disbelieved from his people said, we do not see you but as a man like ourselves. مَا نَرَاكَ إِلَّا بَشَرًا مِثْلَنَا. I mean, you're just like a man ourselves. What's so special about you that we should listen to you? وَمَا نَرَاكَ اتَّبَعَكَ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ هُمْ أَرَاذِلُنَا. And we do not see anyone who's following you except that they are poor and the lowest of the lowest in their society. Meaning only the most poor, the people we don't consider anything, they are the ones who are following you. So, I mean, come on, you have no value for us. وَمَا نَرَى لَكُمْ عَلَيْنَا مِنْ فَضْلٍ بَلْ نَظُنُّكُمْ كَاذِبِينَ. And we do not see you over any merit. I mean, we don't see any value in you. Rather, we think you are liars. So Nuh alayhi salam then replied, قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ. He said, O my people, have you considered if I should be upon clear evidence from my Lord? Meaning, have you considered that I might just be on the right evidence from my Lord? While he has given me mercy from himself, but it has been made unapparent to you? Should we force it upon you while you're averse to it? And then he continued and said, O my people, لا أسألكم عليه مالا إن أجري إلا على الله. This is the statement of all the messengers. All the messengers said this statement to their people at one time or the other. And in Surah Al-Hud, we will learn about approximately 7 prophets, among also the story of Hud alayhi salam. And you will notice a pattern that each prophet would have said, La asalukum alayhi mala. I'm preaching to you. Am I asking you for money? In ajriya illa Allah. My reward is only from Allah. I mean, you should hate me if I was asking for money and if I was trying to take away your wealth. My reward is not but from Allah, and I'm not one to drive away those who have believed. Meaning, I'm not going to drive away the people who you consider lowly away from my gatherings because you don't consider them of value. Allah considers these poor people of value because they appear to be poor in their resources, but they're filled with iman. They're filled with iman. Allah does not value your wealth. Allah values the wealth of your iman in your heart. So I'm not going to drive away these people who are with me, who are full of iman, and they might appear poor to you. Indeed, they will meet their Lord. But I see that you're a people behaving ignorantly. And then he said, and oh my people, who would protect me from Allah if I drove them away? Meaning, if I let these poor people go, just because you don't like sitting with them, you think you're too high in might, I should have a special gathering hosted for like the elites of the society? Then who will protect me from Allah? Meaning Allah will punish me. Nuh alayhi salam is saying that. Then will you not be reminded? What do we learn from this? Should we only hang out with the people that are of the same social economic status than like us? Should our gatherings only include those people? And should we dislike? If we dislike hanging out with the people who are of low social status or economic status in society, we are following the footsteps of people of Nuh. So food for thought that this is not the way to go. And then Nuh alayhi salam continued to say, the response of Nuh alayhi salam started from ayah number 28 until 31. He said, and I do not tell you that I have the depositories, that I have the treasures of Allah, or that I know the unseen. وَلَا أَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبِ. I don't know the ilm al-ghayb. وَلَا أَقُولُ إِنِّي مَلَكٌ. And neither do I say that I am an angel. Meaning, I have never claimed to be anything more than a human. وَلَا أَقُولُ الَّذِينَ. Nor do I say of those upon whom your eyes look down that Allah will never grant them any good. Meaning, you look at these poor people who are in my gathering and you think that they believe in Allah and Allah will never give them good. I don't say that. I'm never going to say that they will not have any khair. They will have khair. Maybe in this dunya you don't see their resources and wealth, but Allah will give them khair. Allahu a'lamu bima fi anfusihim. Allah is most knowing of what is within their souls. Allah knows how much iman is in their hearts. You consider these people of no value because of their clothes. Maybe they didn't buy the latest designer dress. Maybe on Eid day, they did not necessarily have a lot of fashion sense. So you consider somebody, oh man, she doesn't really have a lot of fashion sense. I can't hang out with her. She's not my cup of tea, man, because, have you seen how she dresses? Or have you seen her house? Or have you seen what she does? Have you seen how she cooks? Right? We have these standards in this dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Allahu a'lamu bima fi anfusihim. Allah knows what's in their hearts. Maybe their hearts are filled with the fear of Allah, with the khashiyah of Allah, and we deprive ourselves of their good company because we are so focused and hyperfixated on socio-economic status of peoples and the kind of friends we want to make. Inni idha lamina zalimeen. Indeed, I would then be amongst the wrongdoers. They said. Now, the people replied. قالوا يا نوح. They said, oh Nuh, you have disputed us and been frequent in dispute. I mean, you keep arguing with us, oh Nuh. You don't agree with us. I mean, whatever we say, you have an argument, you have an answer. So you know what? We're kind of tired of you. So bring us what you threaten us. فَأْتِنَا بِمَا تَعِيدُنَا. Bring to us whatever you promised to us. إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. If you're really truthful, if you're so high and mighty, bring the punishment that you promised us. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala adds this ayah, قَالَ إِنَّمَا يَأْتِيكُم بِهِ اللَّهِ. He said, Allah will only bring it to you if He wills, and you will not cause Him failure. Meaning, you cannot force Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will bring it to you when He will bring it to you. And my advice will not benefit you. And the Nuh alayhi salam continues to respond to them from ayah number 33 until ayah number 34. He says that Allah will bring the punishment whenever He wants to. وَلَا يَنْفَعُكُمْ نُصْحِي. Meaning, my advice will not benefit you. Meaning, I have spent so much time advising you. We learned that Nuh alayhi salam advised his people for 950 years. At that time, the life was much longer. The lifespan was much, much, much longer. Right? So he said, I have done my very best. Now at this stage, I don't think my advice is even going to work on you. Although I wish to advise you, if Allah should intend to put you in error, He is your Lord, and to Him you will be returned. يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَى. Or do they say about Prophet Muhammad? Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala interrupts the story. Now again, the flashback. Up until 34, we have the communication of Nuh alayhi salam with his people. Then Allah mentions in ayah number 35 a general message to remind the mushrikeen of Makkah. Or do they say about Prophet Muhammad, he invented it? Meaning, just like Nuh alayhi salam, people were commenting on that. Say, if I have invented it, then upon me is the consequence of my crime. Meaning, if I invented the Quran, Rasulullah would say, if I invented the Quran, then the consequence of it is my crime. I will be punished. وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ. But I am innocent of what crimes you commit. Meaning, I'm not going to be responsible for what you say. My job is to deliver. And then from ayah number 36, we're back into the story of Nuh alayhi salam. وَأُوهِيَ إِلَى نُوحٍ. And it was revealed to Nuh that no one will believe from your people except those who have already believed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent revelation to Nuh alayhi salam. That, oh Nuh alayhi salam, you have done your best. Now the people who have already believed, that's it. No one else is going to believe. The rest of the people, the rest of the crop is a wasted crop. So do not waste your time with them. Do not fret about them. Do not be sad about them. And it was revealed to Noah that no one will believe from your people except those who have already believed. So do not be distressed by what they have been doing. وَاصْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ. And construct the ship. بِأَعْيُنِنَا. Under our observation. Interesting. Why under our observation? Meaning, when Nuh alayhi salam was constructing the ship, it was being done through the wahi. It was being done by entire instruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who taught the man the skill of building transportation. وَاصْنَعَ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا. Because up until then, there was no sea or ocean nearby Nuh alayhi salam. Which is why people used to make fun of him when he would be building the ship. People would make fun of him that, oh, where are you gonna travel it to? We have no water here. They would literally laugh. And you have to understand, humans are building the ship under the guidance of Allah. Angels are not helping here. So it takes a long time to build a ship. Every day when Nuh alayhi salam is building the ship, he is hearing the taunts. And what is he doing? Sabr, sabr, sabr. And what are the believers doing with him who are helping him building the ship? Sabr, sabr, and sabr. You think ships are made in one day? Probably took like months and months and months and months. وَاصْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا وَوَحْيِنَا وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي فِي الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِنَّهُمْ مُغْرَقُونَ. And constructs the ship under our observation and our inspiration, and do not address me concerning those who have wronged. Indeed, they are to be drowned. Meaning, do not feel in your heart any kind of mercy for the people who are about to drown. Now, while Nuh alayhi salam is building that ship, he knows the punishment of Allah that is about to come. Allah has sent wahi on him. and he is feeling sad intensely. The very people who are passing by, taunting him, he's feeling sad for them and he's hoping they will accept Islam now. Now they will accept. But Allah is saying now they will not. So do not fret over them. وَيَصْنَعُ الْفُلْكَ. And he constructed the ship, and whenever an assembly of the eminent of his people, whenever the elites of his people passed by him, they ridiculed him. He said, if you ridicule us, then we will ridicule you just as you ridicule. Meaning, Nuh alayhi salam replied that the way you're ridiculing us, time will come when we will ridicule you, we will make fun of you. And you're going to know who will get a punishment that will disgrace him on earth, and upon whom will descend an enduring punishment in the hereafter. حتى إذا جاء أمرنا. So it was until when our command came. So before I go into this ayah, the ship that Nuh alayhi salam built, we don't have a lot of description for it in the ahadith, but we have the according to Torah, the ship was, I mean, Allahu alam if it's true or not, because people have corrupted Torah. But from what we learn from Torah is that it was 300 cubits long, the ship, and the 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high. And there were 3 levels in the ship, and it was the first ship ever constructed, and it had windows in it, rooms in it. If you don't know what cubits are, you can think of this way, that it was 440 feet in length, 72 feet in width, and 43 feet in height. Allahu Alam. Then from ayah number 40 until 43, the beginning of flood is mentioned, and Nuh alayhi salam's leadership is mentioned in that time. So ayah number 40 to 43, what happens? So it was until when our command came, meaning the command came, and the oven overflowed. Hatta idha ja'a amruna, which command came? The command to drown them. وَفَارَتْ التَّنُورُ وَفَارَتْ التَّنُورُ, and the oven overflowed. Which oven? What does that mean? وَفَارَتْ التَّنُورُ. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu states that the at-tanur means the face of the earth, meaning the face of the earth became gushing spring, and it continued until water gushed forth from the tananir. And what is a tananir? They are the places of fire, meaning water came out from every corner, every surface area of the earth, even from the hot area of the earth, water gushed forth, and it kept raising up and up and up and up until the ship could float on it. And Nuh said, embark therein, meaning Nuh said to his people, embark therein in the name of Allah, in its courts and its anchorage. Indeed, my Lord is forgiving and merciful. So when Nuh alayhi salam placed in it the pairs of humans and birds. So according to ulama, it says that anything that had a soul, it had a pair, and Nuh alayhi salam placed them in the ship. Okay. وَقَالَ ارْكُبُوا فِيهَا بِسْمِ اللَّهِ مَجْرَيْهَا وَمُرْسَاهَا. And then Nuh alayhi salam said, embark in it. This is the dua that Nuh alayhi salam made for traveling on the ship. And this is a dua that we have been told to make when we are traveling by ship, train, or on an airplane. So highlight this dua and memorize this dua. Bismillahi majreha. It is not pronounced majraha, it is majreha. Wa mursaha inna rabbi laghafurur rahim. وَهِيَ تَجْرِي بِهِمْ فِي مَوْجٍ كَالْجِبَالِ. And it sailed with them through waves like mountains, meaning the water kept raising up and up. And Nuh alayhi salam called to his son. So while the water was raising, he saw his son in a corner hiding on a hill, on a mountain. The water kept raising even above the mountains. So Nuh alayhi salam's son, his name was Canaan, he got onto a mountain and he thought he would be saved. He didn't think that the water could raise and cover the mountains. So he got up to there, and when Nuh alayhi salam saw him, he called out to him. وَنَادَى نُوحُ ابْنَهُ وَكَانَ فِي مَعْزِلٍ يَا بُنَيَّ يَا بُنَيَّ, oh my son, come aboard with us. وَلَا تَكُنْ مَعَ الْكَافِرِينَ, and do not be with the disbelievers. I mean, this is the father's love, right? He's seeing his son getting destroyed. He sees his son is wasting his life away. He's seeing his son making the wrong choice, and he is in so much pain. Can you imagine? Put yourselves in his shoes, right? The pain that you feel as a mother or as a father for your own children when they make the wrong choice. And here, it's a permanent choice that Nuh alayhi salam's son is about to make. So he calls out to his son one last time. He doesn't give up on giving advice. So we learn from this that till the last breath, we give advice to our children. We have to keep giving advice to our children. No matter how far away they get from the deen, keep calling them to the deen. Keep calling them to the deen. But he said, so Nuh alayhi salam's son replied, Qala, he said, I will take refuge on a mountain to protect me from the water. Meaning, don't worry about me. The water's not going to reach the mountains. I'm going to take refuge there. Nuh alayhi salam said, there is no protector today. La asima al-yawma min amrillah. There is no protector on this day from the commandment of Allah, illa marrahim, except the one on whom He may have mercy on. وَحَالَ بَيْنَهُمُ الْمَوْجِ, and the waves came between them. Meaning, while they were having this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paints a scene. The Nuh alayhi salam is on the ship calling out to his son, and the son is on the mountain. And while they're talking, while he's saying there's no helper besides Allah, a wave rises up between Nuh alayhi salam and his son. فَكَانَ مِنَ الْمُغْرَقِينَ, and he was amongst the drowned, and he drowns in front of his eyes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the test of the kufr of our children, of the disobedience of our generations. It is a very difficult test. Allahumma ameen. And it was said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the earth. What does He say to earth? O earth, ya ardu, ibla'i, ma'ak, wa ya sama. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands the sky, wa ya sama, aqli'i, withhold your rain. O earth, swallow your water. Earth swallowed its water. I mean, the water gushed out of the earth from every angle. It went back into the earth. And the rain that was also coming. So the flood was so intense that it wasn't just the water that gushed out from the earth, but Allah caused the rain to happen as well. So there's water coming from the skies and the earth, sandwiched between it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands the earth, swallow your water. Ibla'i ma'ak wa ya sama, and O sky, aqli'i, withhold your rain. وَغِيدُ الْمَاءِ وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ, and the water subsided, and the matter was accomplished. وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِ, and the ship came to rest on the mountain of Judi. وَقِيلَ بُعْدًا لِلْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ, and it was said, away with the wrongdoing people. Judi is a mountain in Al Jazeera where the mountain sought to, it was a mountain that sought to tower above each other. So what happened was that when the waves were going high and above, the mountains were trying to also stretch so that they wouldn't drown. All the mountains were trying to stretch upwards so that they wouldn't drown under the water, except one mountain, and that was Mountain Judi. That mountain, when saw the waves of Allah, it humbled itself and it lowered itself. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of its lowering, raised it so much that Nuh alayhi salam's ship anchored onto Mountain Judi. And then it got mentioned in the Quran. What do we learn from this? When you humble yourself for the sake of Allah, He will raise you above. Rising comes from lowering your oneself. وَنَادَ نُوحٌ رَبُّهُ فَقَالَ رَبِّي, and Nuh called to his Lord and said, my Lord, indeed my son is of my family, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had promised him that I will save your family. So he calls out to his Rabb, Ya Rabbi, my son, he's from my family. وَإِنَّ وَعْدَكَ الْحَقِّ, indeed your promise is haqq. You're not someone who betrays your promises. وَأَنْتَ أَحْكَمُ الْحَاكِمِينَ, and you are the most just of the judges. You're the most wise of the wise. So he's sharing his pain, but at the same time recognizing that Allah's decisions are perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies back to, who does he reply back to? Nuh alayhi salam, and he says, O Nuh, innahu laysa min ahlik. Oh no, he is not from your family. Innahu amalun ghayru salih. Indeed, he is one whose work was other than righteous, meaning his actions were not righteous. His life was not on deen. Amalun ghayru salih, other than righteous deeds he did. فَلَا تَسْأِلْنِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. So ask me not. So do not ask me for about which you have no knowledge. Inni, meaning do not ask me to forgive him or save him when he was clearly the wrongdoer. And indeed, I advise you lest you be amongst the ignorant. Inni a'idhuk, I'm advising you, O Nuh, do not ask me for this again. An takuna min al-jahilin, unless you become from the ignorant. So Nuh alayhi salam right away recognized that he should not have asked. Right away he recognized that his paternal feelings overcame the mission for Islam. And he said, قال ربي إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم. It's a beautiful dua that Nuh alayhi salam is teaching us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recorded this dua. So highlight this and memorize this. My Lord, I seek refuge in you from asking that of which I have no knowledge. Oh Allah, forgive me for what I asked. I asked for things that I did not know of. وَإِلَّا تَغْفِرْ لِي. And if you don't forgive me, وَتَرْحَمْنِي, and you don't have mercy on me, أَكُمْ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Ya Rab, I will be amongst the losers. Do not count me amongst the losers. You're the only one who can forgive me. We need to ask Allah dua like that too. Wallah, if you don't forgive me, you don't have mercy on me, where will I go? Where's my refuge besides you? So Ya Rab, forgive me. Make this dua in your fasting, inshallah ta'ala. It was said, and then it was said to Nuh alayhi salam, that it was commanded for him to descend from the ship with peace and blessings. It was said, oh no, disembark in your security. Ihbit bisalam, minna wa barakat, alayka. O Nuh, disembark in security from us and blessings upon you and upon nations descending from those with you. But other nations of them we will grant enjoyment. Then there will be touched from them as a punishment. This is from the news of the unseen which we reveal to you, Muhammad, meaning tilka min anba'il ghaybi nuhiha ilayk. I mean, these are the stories from the unseen that you did not know, and you're getting to know through the revelation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You knew it not, neither you nor your people, meaning no one knew the details of Nuh alayhi salam's story before this. So be patient. فاصبر إن العاقبة للمتقين. Indeed, the outcome is for the righteous. Then from ayah number 50, the story of Hud alayhi salam begins and the people of Ad. And from ayah number 50 to 52, we will see the flashbacks, and then we will notice his communication with his people, inshallah ta'ala. And you will see again, the story style will also be in flashbacks. And to Ad, we sent their brother Hud. He said, "O my people, Ubudullah, worship Allah. Ma lakum min ilahin ghayr. You have no deity other than Him. In antum illa muftarun. You're inventing lies. You're inventing other gods. You're not but inventors. O my people, I do not ask you for any reward. La as'alukum alayhi ajra." Same thing what Nuh alayhi salam said. In ajriya illa ala alladhi fatarani afala ta'qilun. My reward is only from the one who created me. Do you not have reason? وَيَا قَوْمِ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. And O my people, ask forgiveness of your Lord and then repent to Him. He will send down rain from the sky if you ask forgiveness and you do true tawbah. What will Allah do for you? He will send rain from the sky upon you in showers and increase you in strength, add it to your strength, and do not turn away being criminals. We learned about the benefits of istighfar. What is the benefit of istighfar? We learned that the rain upon the sky is the increase in rizq. Constant istighfar increases the rizq, and also it gives shifa. It gives you quwwah in your strength, in your physicality, in your spirituality, in your aql, in your intelligence. Some people ask me that, at a later age when they start studying the Quran, they say, I can't memorize. I'm struggling in understanding and reading the Quran. Istighfar, istighfar, istighfar. You will notice strength of the brain as well. You will notice the strength of the heart as well. Istighfar is the medicine for all ailments. All ailments. According to Ibn Abbas, Rasulullah has said that whoever increases istighfar, Allah will grant him relief from every worry. What are your worries? My child doesn't eat food properly. My child needs to get into a school. I want him to have a good job. He's not studying. Or my in-laws are toxic. Or my husband doesn't love me. I don't know. Whatever the issue is, whatever is worrying you, whatever is eating you up inside, what is the medicine for it? What is the ointment for that worry? Istighfar. Istighfar. Allah will grant him relief from every worry, a way out of every hardship, and provide for him in ways he does not expect. Financial insecurity, lost a job. What else? You're earning, both of you are earning, but the rizq has no barakah, that you have no savings. What should you start doing? Istighfar, istighfar, istighfar. Then ayah 53 to 57 is a conversation between Hud alayhi salam and his people. They said, "Oh Hud, you have not brought us clear evidence, and we are not the ones to leave our gods on your say-so. I mean, just because you say so, we're not going to leave our gods, nor are we believers in you. We only say that some of our gods have possessed you with evil." He said, "Indeed, I call Allah to witness, and witness yourselves that I am free from whatever you associate with Allah other than Him, so plot against me altogether. And then do not give me respite," meaning whatever plot you want to do against me, go ahead. "Indeed, I have relied upon Allah. Inni tawakkaltu ala Allahi Rabbi wa Rabbikum." Highlight this ayah. The whole world can plot against you, just like Hud alayhi salam's people were plotting against him. But if you have tawakkul on Allah, your friends could be plotting, your in-laws might be plotting. You know, people have these issues. "Oh my God, they're always plotting against me. They always have something bad to say about me." Inni tawakkaltu ala Allahi Rabbi wa Rabbikum. Say this ayah. Inculcate this ayah. "Ma min dabbatin illa huwa akhidhun binasiyatiha." Allah is holding on to every creature's forelock. There is no creature but that He holds its forelock. Everyone that you're afraid of, you fear, shudder from amongst the humans, Allah is holding on to their forelock. They are in Allah's control. They cannot harm you if Allah doesn't will for them to harm you. So have tawakkul on Allah. Indeed, my Lord is on the right and straight path. But if they turn away, say, "I have already conveyed that with which I was sent to you. My Lord will give succession to a people other than you, and you will not harm him at all. Indeed, my Lord is over all things, guardian." وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا, and when our command came, this is Allah's statement here, and when our command came, we saved Hud and those who believed with him by mercy from us, and we saved them from a harsh punishment. And then destruction of Ad is mentioned from ayah number 58 to 60. And that was Ad who rejected the signs of their Lord and disobeyed his messengers and followed the order of every obstinate tyrant. And they were therefore followed in the world with a curse, and as well on the day of resurrection, meaning their bad deeds followed up with them even in this dunya. Unquestionably, Ad denied their Lord. Inna Adan kafaru rabbahum. They denied their Lord. Then away with Ad. ألا بعدا لعاد, and the people of Hud, قوم Hud. Inshallah, let's take a break from here, because from ayah number 61, we start the story of Salih and the people of Thamud, inshallah. And let's take a quick 5-minute break and play the recitations that we just learned. Let's play them from ayah number 50. Actually, no, I would like to play them from the story of Nuh alayhi salam, because that was a very, very touchy part, I would say. Okay, let's start from ayah number 14, inshallah.
حتى إذا جاء أمرنا وفارت النور قل نحمل فيها من كل زوجين اثنين وأهلك إلا من سبق عليه القول وما آمن معه إلا قليل وقال اركبوا فيها بسم الله مجريها ومرساها إن ربي لغفور رحيم وهي تجري بهم في موج كالجبال ونادى نوح ابنه وكان في معزل يا بني اركب معنا ولا تكن مع الكافرين قال سآوي إلى جبل يعصمني من الماء قال لا عاصم اليوم من أمر الله إلا من رحم وحال بينهما الموج فكان من المغرقين وقيل يا أرض ابلعي ماءك ويا سماء أقلعي وغيض الماء وقضي الأمر واستوت على الجودي وقيل بعدا للقوم الظالمين ونادى نوح ربه فقال رب إن ابني من أهلي وإن وعدك الحق وأنت أحكم الحاكمين قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلك إنه عمل غير صالح فلا تسألني ما ليس لك به علم إني أعظك أن تكون من الجاهلين قال رب إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني أكن من الخاسرين قيل يا نوح اهبط بسلام منا وبركات عليك وعلى ممن معك وأمم سنمتعهم ثم يمسهم منا عذاب أليم تلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيها إليك ما كنت تعلمها أنت ولا قومك من قبل هذا فاصبر إن العاقبة للمتقين وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إن أنتم إلا مفترون يا قوم لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إن أجري إلا على الذي فطرني أفلا تعقلون ويا قوم استغفروا ربكم ثم توبوا إليه يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويزدكم قوة إلى قوتكم ولا تتولوا مجرمين قالوا يا هود ما جئتنا ببينة وما نحن بتاركي آلهتنا عن قولك وما نحن لك بمؤمنين إن نقول إلا اعتراك بعض آلهتنا بسوء قال إني أشهد الله واشهدوا أني بريء مما تشركون به فكيدوني جميعا ثم لا تنظرون إني توكلت على الله ربي وربكم ما من دابة إلا هو آخذ بناصيتها إن ربي على صراط مستقيم فإن تولوا فقد أبلغتكم ما أرسلت به إليكم ويستخلف ربي قوما غيركم ولا تضرونه شيئا إن ربي على كل شيء حفيظ ولما جاء أمرنا نجينا هودا والذين آمنوا معه برحمة منا ونجيناهم من عذاب غليظ وتلك عاد جحدوا بآيات ربهم وعصوا رسله واتبعوا أمر كل جبار عنيد وأتبعوا في هذه الدنيا لعنة ويوم القيامة ألا إن عادا كفروا ربهم ألا بعدا لعاد قوم هود.
Ayah number 61, the story of Saleh and the people of Samud starts, and it continues until ayah number 68. And to Samud we send their brother Saleh. He said, O my people, worship Allah. Ubudullaha ma lakum min ilahin ghayru. O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. He has produced you from the earth and settled you in it. So ask forgiveness of Him and then repent to Him. Are you noticing a consistent pattern in this surah? The emphasis on the ibadah of Allah and istighfar by all of the messengers. This is the message of the messengers is being highlighted in this surah. Istighfar and tawbah. Inna Rabbi qareebun mujib. Qareebun mujib. Allah is mujib, responsive. He answers, and He's qareeb. He's so near. Qalu. They said, O Saleh, you were among us a man of promise before this, meaning we thought you were going to be something big, but what are you talking about? We had so much high hopes from you, but you are just somebody who's talking nonsense. O Saleh, you were among us a man of promise before this. Do you forbid us to worship what our fathers worshipped? And indeed, we are about that to which you invite us in complete doubt, meaning we're completely doubtful of what you're saying. He said, Saleh replied, O my people, have you considered if I should be upon clear evidence from my Lord, and He has given me mercy from Himself, who would protect me from Allah if I disobeyed Him? So you would not increase me except in loss. And O my people, this is the she-camel of Allah, and to you a sign. So let her feed upon Allah's earth, and do not touch her with harm, or you will be taken by the impending punishment. But the hamstrung her, so he said, enjoy yourselves in your homes for 3 days. Meaning they were given respite of 3 days, and after the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came. That is a promise not to be denied. So when our commands came, meaning when the punishment came, we saved Saleh and those who believed with him by mercy from us, and saved them from the disgrace of that day. Indeed, it is your Lord who is more powerful, the exalt in might. And the shriek seized those who had wronged, and they became within their homes corpses fallen prone. Meaning a strong sound came, and within that sound, they all froze to death. They became corpses, fallen prone. As if they had never prospered therein, meaning they were so boastful about their prosperity, they became as if there was no prosperity before there. Unquestionably, Inna Thamuda kafaru rabbahum, the Thamud denied their Lord. Ala ba'da li Thamud. Then away with Thamud. Meaning Good riddance of Thamud. And certainly did our messengers come to Ibrahim with good tidings. Now, from ayah number 69 to 73, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam begins. And I will summarize this a little bit, that Ibrahim alayhi salam had become very old, and with his wife Sarah, who was also very old, and they did not have any children. So Ibrahim alayhi salam also got the good news of children at a very, very, very old age. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised him the news of the son Ishaq. And then he also told him that after Ishaq, he will have many children, and amongst them will be Yaqub alayhi salam. And Yaqub will also be a prophet, and Ishaq will also be a prophet. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that news to Ibrahim alayhi salam in the form of angels who appeared to Ibrahim alayhi salam in the form of beautiful humans. Right? So this ayat from 69 to 73 are going to narrate that instance. And when Ibrahim alayhi salam, when these angels came to him, he did not know these are the angels. He thought they were just general guests in his house. So he offered them food. He offered them meat. He offered them the best of the food that he had. So since angels do not eat or drink, they are free from this human need. They restricted themselves. They restrained their hands from eating. And that caused Ibrahim alayhi salam to get worried. He thought that, what's going on? Who are these people who are not like taking the food? And then they revealed to him that they are the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they have come to him with this glad tiding of progeny, glad tiding of children. Okay, so let's read this. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ بِالْبُشْرَى قَالُوا سَلَامًا قَالَ سَلَامٌ. And certainly did our messengers come to Ibrahim, meaning our angels came to Ibrahim with good tidings. And they said to him, peace, salam. And Ibrahim replied, peace. And he did not delay in bringing them a roasted calf, meaning he was so quick in bringing them food. What we learned from this is that when guests come, we should serve them. He did not ask them where you come from, who you are. He saw people come to his house, guests, he offered them food right away. And when he saw their hands not reaching for it, meaning he saw them not eating it, he distrusted them and felt from them apprehension, meaning what kind of guest doesn't take the food? They said, لا تخف, do not fear. إنا أرسلنا إلى قوم لوط. We have been sent to the people of Lut. Meaning, what does that tell us? It tells us that Ibrahim alayhi salam was in Palestine and Lut alayhi salam was in a different area, and there were two prophets on the earth of Allah at the same time. And these angels were having a pit stop basically at Ibrahim alayhi salam before they would go to Lut alayhi salam with the news of the punishment. So they were just going to deliver him the good news, and then they're going to go bring the punishment to the people of Lut, because Lut alayhi salam left and gave them 3 days. Then in 3 days, the punishment will come. Okay, so this is all happening within that time. So, but when he saw their hands not reaching for it, he distrusted them and felt them apprehension. They said, fear not, we have been sent to the people of Lut. And his wife was standing and she smiled. Then we gave her good tidings of Isaac, Ishaq, and after Ishaq, Yaqub. So Ibrahim alayhi salam's wife was behind the door listening to this conversation. And when she heard that she's going to have a son, she got really happy. She started smiling. At the same time, a moment of disbelief came to her that how can I have a son? قالت, she said, يا ويلتا, woe to me. أألد وأنا عجوز? Shall I give birth while I'm an old woman? وهذا بعلي شيخا. And this, my husband, is an old man. إن هذا لشيء عجيب. This is an amazing thing. I mean, this is something never heard of. Nobody's ever seen that such an elderly couple would have children at this age. So the messengers, the angels said, قالوا, they said, أتعجبين من أمر الله? Are you amazed at the decree of Allah? Are you surprised that Allah can do this? Allah can give you children at an old age as well. So it's a lesson. If there's any sister who's struggling with this, there is never lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make dua to Allah, O Rabbi, the one who gave children to Ibrahim and his wife in an old age. Give me children. O Rabbi, the one who can make the impossible possible. Give me righteous children. Just like he gave children to Zakaria, he gave Yahya alayhi salam to Zakaria alayhi salam. So make dua. There should be no limit to your du'as. And you should not be surprised. You should not be do ta'ajjub. You should not find it odd if your dua gets accepted. Or you should not feel odd asking Allah for something impossible. Maybe your doctor had given you diagnosis that you can never have children. So be it. That should not stop you from making dua. That should not put you in despair. Have yaqeen. Have yaqeen. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And his blessings be upon you, people of the house. Alaykum ahl al-bayt. Inna hamidun majid. Indeed, he is praiseworthy and honorable, meaning Allah is praiseworthy and honorable. And when the fright had left Ibrahim and the good tidings had reached him, meaning when Ibrahim felt a bit rested, okay, these are just angels, they're not people to harm me. And when he got the good news, then Ibrahim alayhi salam became concerned about the people of Lut. Ibrahim alayhi salam was actually a very kind-hearted prophet. He was truly a father figure, which is why he is called the father of the ummah, right? And he was concerned. So when he got his news, he got worried about Lut alayhi salam's nation. And he started questioning that, what are you going to do with the people of Lut? Inna Ibrahim lahalimun awahum munib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, indeed, Ibrahim was forbearing. He was halim. He had hilm. He had softness in him. Awahu, he was grieving, meaning he would feel the pain of others. He was very empathetic. He had a lot of empathy. Munib, and he would constantly return to Allah, meaning he was somebody who did tawbah to Allah a lot. So here Ibrahim alayhi salam is praised like no other prophet is praised. Subhanallah al-Azim. What beautiful qualities of Ibrahim alayhi salam are mentioned. So as a father figure, he gets concerned that, are you going to punish the people of Lut? And from a hadith of Rasulullah, we know that Sa'id ibn Jubair narrates that when Jibreel and the other angels who were with him came to Ibrahim, they said, Inna muhliku ahli hadhil qaryah. Verily, we're going to destroy the people of this town. Ibrahim replied, will you destroy a town that has 200 believers in it? The angels replied, no, we will not. So Ibrahim said, will you destroy a town that has 40 believers in it? So angels replied, no. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said, 30? Angels said, no. Then this continued until he said, 5? Are you going to destroy a people if they had 5 good people in there? Then he said, what do you think? If there was one Muslim man in the town, would you destroy it? And then Ibrahim alayhi salam continued to ask, what if there is only one good man in the entire nation? Would you still destroy it? He was sort of like pleading the case to not have them destroyed. They said no. And then Ibrahim alayhi salam said, Inna fiha Lutan. But there is Lut in it. Lut is the righteous person. قَالُوا نَحْنُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنْ فِيهَا. So Allah subhanahu, they replied that we know better who is there. We will verily save him. We will for sure save Lut alayhi salam and his family, except his wife. Then after this conversation, Ibrahim alayhi salam went silent because he had hilm and he was munib. He understood the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Ibrahim, a'rid an hadha. And the angel said, oh Ibrahim, give us the plea, give up this plea, meaning give up this case for Lut's people. You cannot change this matter because Allah has already decided it. Indeed, the command of your Lord has come, and indeed they will reach them a punishment that cannot be repelled. That cannot be repelled. ولما جاءت رسلنا لوطا سيء بهم وضاق بهم ذرعا وقال هذا يوم عصيب. And when our messengers, the angels, came to Lut, he was anguished for them and felt for them great discomfort and said, this is a trying day. So basically, these angels, as I mentioned, came in the human form. And Lut alayhi salam's nation was indulged in homosexuality. So when the news came to Lut alayhi salam, when Lut alayhi salam saw such beautiful young men in his presence, he got worried for his people. And he said, هَذَا يَوْمٌ عَصِيبٌ. This is a severe test. Jabir radiallahu anhu narrates that that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that there is nothing I fear for my ummah more than the deed of the people of Lut, which is what? Homosexuality. It is against fitrah. So he got worried, Lut alayhi salam, that my people will try to harm these guests because they're such beautiful men and they're trying to do that filthy act with these people. And he said, هَذَا يَوْمٌ عَصِيبٌ. How can I save them? How can I save them from the filth and from the lust of my people? And his people came hastening to him, meaning that when Lut alayhi salam's people found out that there are these beautiful, gorgeous men in his presence, they came rushing to him. And before this, they had been doing evil deeds. He said, oh my people, Lut alayhi salam said, oh my people, these are my daughters. They are pure for you, meaning they are my daughters. Some ulama say that he was referring to his own daughters, and some ulama say that he's referring to the women in the country, in the nation, that they are my daughters, they are there for you, they're purer for you, meaning they're more pure than these men you are lusting over. So fear Allah, fattaqullah, and fear Allah, and do not disgrace me concerning my guest. وَلَا تُخْزُونِ فِي ضَيْفِي, and do not disgrace me. At this point, Lut alayhi salam does not know that these are the angels. So he's like, don't disgrace me in front of my guest. Don't embarrass me with your filthy acts in front of them. Is there not amongst you a single man of reason? أَلَيْسَ مِنْكُمْ رَجُلٌ رَشِيدٌ? There's not a single man who would have reason? قالوا, they said. So Lut alayhi salam's people replied, you have already known that we have not concerning your daughters any claim, meaning you already know we are not interested in women. We don't like them. We're not lusting over them. And you know what we want. You know we want these men. So give them up. Give them up, these men, to us. قال, he said, if only, Lut alayhi salam said, if only I had against you some power. أَنَّ لِي بِكُمْ قُوَّةً, if only I had some, would I have had some strength to overpower you and change your discourse, right? He was like asking for some kind of help, that if only I could like force you guys to change yourself. قالوا, the angel said. So the angel spoke up. O Lut, indeed we are messengers of your Lord. Inna rusulu rabbik. Therefore, they will never reach you. لَن يَصِلُوا إِلَيْكَ, meaning they cannot harm you and they cannot harm us. So set out with your family during a portion of the night, meaning leave now because the punishment of Allah is about to come. Leave at the time of night, and let not amongst you look back, meaning no one amongst your family should look back or care for the people we're going to destroy. Except your wife, meaning your wife is going to be the one who stays back because she had a very soft heart, as we discussed before, and she was the one who informed the people of the city about the beautiful men in the city. Indeed, she will be struck by that which strikes them. Indeed, their appointment is for the morning, is not the morning near, meaning لَيْسَ الصُّبْحُ بِقَرِيبٍ, meaning the subh is about to happen, the morning is about to happen, so you leave, and Allah has written punishment for them in the morning time, and it's about to come. One thing that I was thinking, that subhanAllah, look at the trials of the messengers. Nuh alayhi salam gets tried by his own son. Lut alayhi salam is tried by his own wife. Sometimes the righteous people, good people, can be tried by bad spouses. And this is a huge test of their iman. Huge test of their iman. When your spouse is not on the right path, it is going to be a constant struggle. A constant struggle. But the lack of iman of your spouse should not deviate you from your path. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us from different ways in life. Having a spouse who doesn't understand the deen, or who's not cooperative in maybe your child's education of Islam, is a test of Allah from you. Is a test from Allah to you. So make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding it, inshallah. So when our command came, meaning when the punishment came to Lut alayhi salam's nation, we made the highest part of the city its lowest and rained upon them stones of layered hard clay. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا جَعَلْنَا عَالِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهَا حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ مَنْضُودٍ مُسَوَّمَةً عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ, marked from your Lord. So very, very important to note some of the wording that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses here. He is using what? Musawwamatan. The stones that came, hijaratan min sijil. Sijil is a Persian word which means stones made of clay. Mandud, that you see the word right after sijil, sijil and mandud. Mandud means layered. They were layered, lined up in heavens, meaning they were already layered up, like you know how you put like bullets in bullets in a gun. It's layered up, it's lined up, right? One after the other comes out. So mandud, it was layered up, lined up in the heavens, and it was going to follow one after the other. And musawwamatan inda rabbik. The next ayah says musawwamatan inda rabbik, meaning marked from your Lord. So they were marked and sealed, meaning the names of the victims were written on them. And Qatada and Ikramah has stated regarding the tafsir of these ayat is that these stones were encompassed by a sprinkling of red coloring, which shows the mark that they were marked for the designated person, and it hit the person they were marked for. Now, after mentioning the punishment of Lut alayhi salam's people, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us the story of the people of Madian, Shu'aib. And again, in each episode, you're getting a different perspective, a different angle than what we learned in Surah Al-A'raf. And to Madian, we sent their brother Shu'aib. Shu'aib alayhi salam was known to be the orator. He was a very good speaker. He was a charismatic speaker, and he's known to be the orator amongst the messengers. And to Madian, we sent their brother Shu'aib. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. Ubudullah ma lakum min ilahin ghayruh. And do not and you have no deity other than him." The people of Madian, as we discussed, were involved in the sin of cheating the measure. And do not decrease from the measure and the scale. I see you in prosperity, but indeed I fear for you the punishment of an all-day encompassing. The people of the Madian, it was a tribe of Arabs who lived between the land of Al-Hijaz and Asham. It was close to the land of Ma'an. So their land was known by the name of their tribe and was thus called Madian. And basically, it was prohibited for them to cheat in their weights and measures in business transactions, and they indulged in that. Another thing that they indulged in it is called highway robbery. So they would rob people on the caravan pathways. And all my people, give full measure and weight in justice, and do not deprive the people of their due, and do not commit abuse in the earth, spreading corruption. But baqiyatullahi khayrul lakum. Meaning that what you gain from your honest dealings is better for you if you are truly believers. But I'm not a guardian over you. وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظٍ. Meaning I cannot come and check how you deal with the people. You have to be a guardian upon yourselves. According to a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we learned that the trustworthy, honest Muslim merchant will be with the martyrs on the day of resurrection. When we deal any kind of business transaction, if you have a business, be very mindful of it, because in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about there is a wail for mutaffifin, the ones who do not count the measure properly when they're dealing in business dealings. If somebody has paid you for a service, give 100% of that service. Okay? Don't try to shortchange them. So it applies to any kind of business dealing, whether it's product or service kind of business. And then they said to Shu'aib something very interesting. They said, قالوا Ya Shu'aib, oh Shu'aib, does your prayer command you that we should leave what our fathers worship or not do with our wealth what we please? Indeed, you are the forbearing, the discerning. Meaning, Ya Shu'aib, as-salawatuka ta'muruk. Meaning the prayers that you do. Shu'aib al-Islam was known to be very devoted to salah. And, he was a well-known person, that somebody who was do a lot of ibadah. And he was constantly devoted to salah. So they said, basically, the point they were trying to make that, listen, just because you pray, okay, don't involve your prayer attitude in our business dealings. Keep your deen separate from our dunya. This is what they're trying to say literally in this ayah. And this is what we say. We would see people who pray 5 times a day, who have a beard, who probably wear a hijab, but their akhlaq, their business dealings are the most corrupt. They cheat, they lie. What's the benefit of your prayer then? Because what the people have done, they've compartmentalized deen separate and dunya separate. They think deen is just rituals, salah, zakah, and that's it. They don't realize that deen, the salah, is there to strengthen your dealings with people. Ibadah, the connection with Allah, strengthens and improves your connection with the creation of Allah. And if it's not doing so, then there is corruption within our ibadah. Then our salah is not correct. Because a person who is doing sujood 20 times in a day and saying, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, every salah, if salah is not reminding him of, and after saying salam, he goes on to lie and cheat in the same business dealing, Allah does not need that salah. The salah is not advantageous to him. The salah is not helping him because he's not praying salah the way it's supposed to be played. Because the promise of Allah is, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Indeed, salah prevents and stops from immorality and evil. And if immoral behaviors are not removed from your life, even if you're praying salah, that means your salah is extremely deficient. All right? And deen is not a compartment of 3, 4, 5 things. Deen is your entire dealings with people. Okay? Then Shu'aib alayhi salam replies, قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة Min Rabbi. He said, "O my people, have you considered if I am upon clear evidence from my Lord? And he has provided me with a good provision from him, and I do not intend to differ from you in that which I have forbidden you." Meaning, there's no disagreement. I have forbidden you from your dealings. I'm not gonna have an argument to discuss what's right and what's not right. I've already told you what's right. I only intend reform as much as I'm able, and my success is not but through Allah. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. Highlight this part. I absolutely love this portion of the ayah. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَإِلَيْهِ أُنِيبُ. Meaning, I'm going to do my best. And even the best, I mean, you're saying that I'm so righteous. The righteousness, my salah, is also from the tawfiq of Allah. This tawfiq, this ability to do good deeds, comes from Allah. It is not from within us. It comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And O my people, وَيَا قَوْمِ لَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شِقَاقِي. And O my people, let not your dissension, your hatred for me, cause you to be struck by that, similar to what struck the people of Nuh. Shiqaqi, min mannakum shiqaqi. What is shiqaq? Meaning, do not let your hatred and enmity of me, meaning you dislike me because you think I'm so pious and stuff, so you don't want to deal with me. Do not let your hatred for my personality persist you in corruption this way. You will suffer the same torment that overcame Nuh's people, Hud and Saleh and Lut. And sometimes we learn from this, that sometimes just because we don't like someone, even if they're telling something true, we don't want to listen to them because we just don't like them. So we need to open up our hearts and minds and be accepting of the truth, no matter who it's coming from, as long as it's the truth, even if it's from someone you don't like, inshallah. وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ إِنَّ رَبِّي رَحِيمٌ وَدُودٌ. And ask forgiveness of your Lord, and then repent to him. Indeed, my Lord is merciful and affectionate. Then ayah 91 and 92 talks about the response of Shu'aib's people. They said, "O Shu'aib, we do not understand much of what you say, and indeed we consider you among us as weak. And if not for your family, we would have stoned you to death, and you are not to us one respected." Meaning we don't have any respect for you. He said, "O my people, is my family more respected for power by you than Allah?" Meaning the only reason you're stopping from harming me is because of my family. You think is my family more respectable to you than than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But you put him behind your backs, meaning you have put Allah behind your backs. وَرَاءَكُمْ ظِهْرِيًّا. Have we put Allah behind our backs and prioritized our families over him? Have we prioritized that? Because a lot of us can't let go of thinking, "Oh, what will my family say? I have to have a wedding a certain way. What will my family say?" إِنَّ رَبِّي بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ مُحِيطٌ. Indeed, my Lord is encompassing of what you do. Then ayah number 93 to 95, Shuaib alayhi salam gives them a threat. He says, "And O my people, work according to your position. اعملوا على مكانتكم إني عامل." You do what you need to do. Indeed, I'm working. I'm also working. Soon you will know who amongst us is going to be punished and who will be a disgrace and who is a liar. So watch. وَارْتَقِبُوا. So you watch. So you wait. All right, you wait. إِنِّي مَعَكُمْ رَقِيبٌ. Indeed, I'm with you also waiting. I'm also with you watching and waiting for the outcome. And when our command came, when the punishment on Shu'aib alayhi salam's people of Madian came, we saved Shu'aib and those who believed with him by mercy from us. And the shriek seized those who had wronged, and they became within their homes corpses fallen prone. كَانَ لَمْ يَغْنَوْا فِيهَا. And if they had never prospered therein, as if they had never prospered therein, meaning all that wealth they amassed by cheating, nothing came to rescue them, then away with the Madian. Good riddance from them. كَمَا بَعِدَتْ ثَمُودَ. Just like Thamud was taken away. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا وَسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. And then from here onwards, the story of Musa alayhi salam comes with a different angle. From 96 to 99, the story of Musa alayhi salam comes. And we did certainly send Musa alayhi salam with their signs and a clear authority to Fir'aun and his establishment, but they followed the commandment of Fir'aun. And the commandment of Fir'aun was not at all discerning, meaning it was not at all of guidance. It had no rushd in it. He will precede his people on the day of resurrection and lead them into the fire, meaning Fir'aun will be the leader and his people who followed him, even on the Yawm al-Qiyamah, he will be leading them into the fire. And wretched is the place to which they are led. And they were followed in this world with a curse and on the day of resurrection, and wretched is the gift which is given. That is the news from the news of the cities which we relate to you of them. Some are still standing and some are a harvest mowed down, meaning these are the stories we're relating to you so that you may learn a lesson from them. We all have tons of lessons to learn from these stories. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. And we did not wrong them, but they wronged themselves. And they were not availed at all by their gods, meaning none of their gods came to help them, which they invoked other than Allah, when there came the command of their Lord. And they did not increase them in other than ruin. And thus is the seizure of your Lord. I mean, thus is the recompense of your Lord when he seizes the cities while they're committing wrong. Indeed, his seizure is painful and severe. Inna akhdahu alimun shadid. Indeed, in that is a sign for those who fear the punishment of the hereafter. Who will take a lesson from these stories? People who have a fear of the punishment of Akhirah. That is a day for which the people will be collected. ذلك يوم مجموع له الناس وذلك يوم مشهود. And that is the day that will be witnessed. People will be gathered, court will be set, witnesses will be presented against us and for us. وما نؤخره إلا لأجل معدود. And we do not delay it except for a limited term, meaning it has a fixed time and it will come on its time. And the day it comes, no soul will speak except by his permission, by the permission of Allah, and among them will be wretched and the prosperous. فَمِنْهُمْ شَقِيٌّ وَسَعِيدٌ, meaning with the people that Allah will gather on Yawm al-Qiyamah, there will be two kinds, Shaqi and Sa'id. Shaqi is the wretched, and Sa'id are the one that have happiness on them. They will be happy because they will be successful. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ شَقُوا, and as for those who are destined to be wretched, meaning for those who will be gloomy, who will be wretched and disgraced, what will be for them? فَفِي النَّارِ, they will be in the fire. لَهُمْ فِيهَا زَفِيرٌ وَشَقِيقٌ, and therein is a violent exhaling and inhaling. What is in the fire for them? Zafir and shahiq. According to Ibn Abbas, zafir is a sound in the throat, and it refers to the exhaling sound. And shahiq is a sound in the chest, which refers to the inhaling sound. And this will be the sound of the people of the hellfire while they're being punished. So their throat and chest will be making these heavy sounds because of the pain they would be in. Allahumma ajirna min al-nar. Allahumma ajirna min al-nar. Allahumma ajirna min al-nar. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا مَا دَامَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ رَبُّكَ. They will be abiding therein as long as the heavens and the earth endure. This statement, usually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا, right? Here, there's an addition, مَا دَامَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ. This was a way that Arabs used to speak about something that was going to last forever. It was a custom of Arabs used to describe something that would last forever. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used their very phrase to shake them and tell them that they will be abiding therein as long as the heavens and the earth exist, except what your Lord should will. Inna rabbaka fa'alu lima yurid. Indeed, your Lord is an effector of what he intends. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ سُعِيدُوا, and as for those who are destined to be prospered, the ones who are happy, remember two groups, Shaqi and Sa'id. So the ones who will be happy on the day, destined to be happy on that day, وَفِي الْجَنَّةِ. Before it was فَفِي النَّارِ. In this ayah, فَفِي الْجَنَّةِ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا مَا دَامَتِ السَّمَاوَاتِ. The same style, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا مَا دَامَتِ السَّمَاوَاتِ, as previous ayah. As for those who are destined to be prosperous, they will be in paradise, abiding therein as long as the heavens and the earth endure, except what your Lord should will. عَطَاءً غَيْرَ مَجْذُوذٍ. عَطَاءً غَيْرَ مَجْذُوذٍ. A gift without an end. In Jannah, entrance to Jannah is not just it. Jannah will have gifts that will never end. According to a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, death will be brought on the day of judgment. It will be brought in the form of a handsome ram, and it will be slaughtered between paradise and hell. Then it will be said, O people of paradise, eternity and no death, eternity and no death, eternity and no death. Meaning from now on, you will have no death and eternal life is for you. Then another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam talks about this ata'an ghayra majdud, that this uninterrupted, continual gifts from Allah. He says, O people of paradise, verily you will live meaning in paradise, you will live and you will never die. You will remain young and you will never grow old. No wrinkles, no investment in anti-aging regimens. We look at our old pictures and we reminisce, oh, look how young I used to be, how pretty I used to be, how skinny I used to be, how beautiful I used to be. Look at my hair. Oh, I used to be so skinny. My figure was amazing. We reminisce about these things, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioning that you will remain young and will never grow old. O people of paradise, you will remain healthy and you will never become ill. Some of us have so many illnesses attached to us in this dunya. No illness will enter in Jannah. You will be happy and you will never grieve. The worries of the world will stay in the world. They will not come along with you in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst these people. Allahumma Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-jannah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-jannah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-jannah. Grant us from ata'ana khayra majzoof. Give us this ata'ana khayra majzoof. Allahumma ameen. Now from ayah number 109 to 111, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the misguidance that people do when they associate partners with him. So do not be in doubt, O Muhammad, as to what these polytheists are worshipping. They worship not except as their fathers worshipped before, and indeed we will give them their share diminished. And we had certainly given Moses the scripture, but it came under disagreement. And if not for a word that proceeded from your Lord, it would have been judged between them. And indeed they are concerning the Quran in disquieting doubt. And indeed, each of the believers and disbelievers, your Lord will fully compensate them for their deeds. Indeed, He's acquainted with what they do. Fastaqim. Now, the command to stand firm and straight comes, meaning despite people doing whatever they're doing in disputing regarding the Quran, what are you supposed to do? What are you and I supposed to do? Especially in the times of fitna. Fastaqim. Fastaqim, to remain on a right course. Kama umirta, as you have been commanded. وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ, and those who have turned back, وَلَا تَتَقَوْا, and those who have turned back with you to Allah and do not turn on scarce. إِنَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ, indeed He is seeing of what you do. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the next ayah, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا, and do not incline. What is tarkanu? Do not compromise with them, meaning do not have a soft spot for them. Do not dilute your deen. Do not try to hide your deen because you want to appease them. And do not incline towards those who do wrong, lest you be touched by the fire. And you would not have other than Allah any protectors, then you would not be helped. And then how can we, if to follow these commands, to stay fastaqim? In ayah number 112, he says fastaqim, right? Then he says wala tarkanu in ayah number 113. How can we stay firm? How? It's hard. The answer comes in ayah number 114 and 115. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ, and establish prayer at the two ends. طَرَفَيِ النَّهَارِ. What are the two ends? Meaning in the morning and Asr prayer. وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ, and at the approach of the night. Meaning the Maghrib and the Isha. How do we know this? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned Huma Zulaf al-Layl. The Zulaf al-Layl are two, al-Maghrib wal-Isha. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how will you stand strong? How will you not be able to slip? Aqim as-salah, pray your 5 daily prayers. And in al-hasanat yudhibna sayyi'at, indeed a good deeds do away with misdeeds, meaning do more good deeds than the bad deeds, and if you do a bad deed, do a good deed to erase the bad deed. That is a reminder of those who remember. Good deeds wipe away bad deeds. Excess of good deeds wipe away bad deeds. According to a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, there is not any Muslim who commits a sin, then he makes wudu and prays 2 rak'ah, except that he will be forgiven. Okay, and this is referring to that particular sin that he has committed. After committing this sin, if he does wudu and prays 2 rak'ah and seek tawbah, he will be forgiven. And according to a hadith of Rasulullah, it's a very famous hadith that a lot of us grew up learning, that Rasulullah asked his companions, what do you think would be the case of your body if you had a stream, a river flowing in front of your house, and you bathed in it 5 times a day? Would there be any dirt or dust left on you? And the Sahaba replied, of course not. And then he replied, this is like the 5 daily prayers, for Allah uses them to wipe away the sins and wrongdoings. So between each prayer, any sin that we do, if we sincerely seek tawbah and are mindful of our prayers, they become a means of erasing our bad deeds. And this is obviously referring to the small sins that we do. Then aqim as-salah, increase your good deeds, and then the next thing that will strengthen you is wasbir, and be patient. And be patient, for indeed Allah does not allow to be Allah does not allow to be lost the reward of those who good. La yudiu ajrul muhsinin. Highlight this. Wasbir. If I'm being patient at the sarcastic comment of an elder person, if I'm patient, Allah will not waste it. It's written. If I smile at someone when I don't feel like smiling, but I smile it because it is good akhlaq, Allah will not let it go to waste. If I'm tired and I cannot stand, but I stand in the sake of Allah to pray, my ankles are hurting, my feet are hurting, but I stand. La yudi'u ajr al-muhsinin. Allah does not waste your ajr. He will not waste your ajr, especially if the intention is pure. Be it a very little good deed or be it a huge deed. Look for opportunities to earn hasanat. When you go to the masajid for Taraweeh prayer, especially in Ramadan, fix up the shoes areas, fix up the prayer mats, assist in any way you can, earn your hasanat. So why were they not amongst the generation before you, those of enduring discrimination, forbidding corruption on earth, except a few of those we saved from amongst them? But those who wronged pursued what luxury they were given therein, and they were criminals. And your Lord would not have destroyed the cities unjustly while their people were reformers, meaning Allah does not destroy if there were people in the city who will reform themselves. And if your Lord had willed, he could have made mankind one community, but they will not cease to differ. Except whom your Lord has given mercy, and for that he created them. But the word of your Lord is to be fulfilled, that I will surely fill hell with jinn and men altogether. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these people. And each story we relate to you from the news of the messenger is that by which we make firm your heart. Meaning each story that comes is supposed to strengthen your heart. نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. These stories should strengthen your heart, give you hope. And there has come to you in this the truth and an instruction and a reminder to the believers. And say to those who do not believe, work according to your position. Indeed, we are working. وَانْتَظِرُوا إِنَّا مُنْتَظِرُونَ. And wait, indeed, we are also waiting. وَلِلَّهِ غَيْبُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And to Allah belongs the unseen aspects of the heavens and the earth. And to Him we will be returned. And to Him the matters will be returned, all of it. So worship Him. فَعْبُدْهُ وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَيْهِ وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah is not unaware of what you do. Worship Him. Do tawakkul on Him. Because Allah is not unaware of the challenges in your life. He is not unaware how difficult it was for you to wake up for sahur. He's not unaware how difficult it is for you to be patient at times when somebody is yelling at you. He's not unaware that when you are right and you still give up the argument for the sake of Allah's pleasure, He's not unaware of your sacrifices. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Just like He's not unaware of your sacrifices and your good deeds, He's not unaware of our bad choices. This concludes Surah Al-Hud. Let's listen to the recitation of the ayat from, and then we will continue Surah Al-Yusuf after that, inshallah. Surah Al-Yusuf is just an amazing surah, subhanallah. I would like to play from ayah number 111, inshallah. Sorry, 112.
فاستقم كما أمرت ومن تاب معك ولا تطغوا إنه بما تعملون بصير ولا تركنوا إلى الذين ظلموا فتمسكم النار وما لكم من دون الله من أولياء ثم لا تنصرون وأقم الصلاة طرفي النهار وزلفا من الليل إن الحسنات يذهبن السيئات ذلك ذكرى للذاكرين واصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين فلولا كان من القرون من قبلكم أولو بقية ينهون عن الفساد في الأرض إلا قليلا ممن أنجينا منهم واتبع الذين ظلموا ما أترفوا فيه وكانوا مجرمين وما كان ربك ليهلك القرى بظلم وأهلها مصلحون ولو شاء ربك لجعل الناس أمة واحدة ولا يزالون مختلفين إلا من رحم ربك ولذلك خلقهم وتمت كلمة ربك لأملأن جهنم من الجنة والناس أجمعين وكلا نقص عليك من أنباء الرسل ما نثبت به فؤادك وجاءك في هذه الحق وموعظة وذكرى للمؤمنين وقل للذين لا يؤمنون اعملوا على مكانتكم إنا عاملون وانتظروا إنا منتظرون ولله غيب السماوات والأرض وإليه يرجع الأمر كله فاعبده وتوكل عليه وما ربك بغافل عما تعملون.
Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf is, subhanallah, it's, inshallah, I plan on doing a detailed tafsir class for Surah Yusuf after Ramadan, because there's just so much in it that we just cannot possibly cover. So let's begin, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin. These are the verses of the clear book. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun. Indeed, we have sent down the Quran, Arabic, Quran and Arabiya, in Arabic language for a reason. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, because the things that can be communicated in the Arabic language cannot be communicated in any other language. Arabic has superiority over other languages because Allah chose it for the Quran. So we should make it our mission in life that if we don't speak Arabic, we should learn it, inshallah ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We relate to you, Muhammad, the best of the stories in what we have revealed to you of this Quran, although you were before it among unaware. Now, why was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that we revealed this story to you? So there were two things happening at the time. The Jews of the Medina, the Jews of the Mecca found out that from their rabbis that Yusuf alayhi salam's story was very, very hidden. And general people did not know about the details of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. So to test the authenticity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they questioned him, they asked him, what does your God say about Yusuf? In the meantime, while Muslims were going through a lot of oppression, their hearts were very grieved. So they came to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, tell us a story. Tell us a story that will ease our hearts. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Surah Yusuf. In ayah number 4, we get to know Yusuf alayhi salam gets the dream. Yusuf alayhi salam was the son of Yaqub alayhi salam, and Yaqub alayhi salam was the son of Ishaq alayhi salam, and Ishaq alayhi salam was the son of Ibrahim alayhi salam. We just learned in Surah Hud. Ibrahim alayhi salam was given the good news of these two prophets. And then Yaqub alayhi salam had 12 sons, right? He had 12 sons, 10 from one wife and 2 from another. And Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin was from one mother, and the other 10 sons, the older ones, from a different mother. So the Yusuf alayhi salam was very beloved to Yaqub alayhi salam because he was a very well-mannered child and was very young when he got this dream. And when he got this dream, Yaqub alayhi salam realized that Yusuf alayhi salam is also going to be one of the prophets, and he's going to be blessed with the knowledge that the other brothers are not going to be blessed with. So what is the dream that Yusuf alayhi salam had that he told his father? All these stories mention when Yusuf said to his father, "Oh, my father, indeed I have seen in a dream 11 stars, and the sun and the moon, I saw them prostrating to me." So this was the dream that he narrated to Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub alayhi salam recognized right away that 11 stars are going to be the 11 brothers who are going to prostrate, and the sun and the moon were referred to his mother and father. And the reality of this dream will come true after many years. But in that moment, he realized that this is the first sign of prophethood, in other words. So he said to him that do not tell this vision to any of your brothers, because the stepbrothers, they will be very jealous of you. They're already jealous of you, so they might harm you. So he said, "Oh, my son, do not relate your vision to your brothers, or they will contrive against your plan. Indeed, shaitan to man is a manifest enemy." Then he said, then Yaqub alayhi salam, in ayah number 6, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recording his interpretation of the dream. He said, "And thus will your Lord choose you." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will choose you, O Yusuf, and he will teach you the interpretation of the dreams and narratives, and he will complete his favor upon you. So the gifts that Yusuf alayhi salam was given, not just prophethood, but the special gift that he could interpret the dreams. And he was very wise. He was gifted a wisdom. And it will come later in the surah that Yusuf alayhi salam was given ilm with hikmah together. And hikmah even before ilm. Hikmah somebody can attain after a long time. But Yusuf alayhi attained hikmah and wisdom at a very tender young age. It was a special favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And complete his favor upon you and upon the family of Yaqub alayhi salam, as he completed upon your fathers before Ibrahim and Ishaq. Indeed, your Lord is knowing and wise. Certainly were there in Yusuf and his brothers signs for those who asked, meaning there are lots of signs in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam and his brother. When they said, Yusuf and his brother are more beloved to our father. So the 10 brothers who are from a different mother, they're talking and they said, you know what, this Yusuf and Binyamin, they're so beloved to their father, our father. Our father only pays attention to them. He doesn't look at us. They don't realize that they're now older. The other 2 kids are younger, but the sibling rivalry got to them. The step brotherhood got to them. So when they said Yusuf and his brother are more beloved to our father than we, while we are a clan, meaning we are stronger, we are a strong clan, but yet our father pays more attention to them. Indeed, our father is in clear error. So one of them suggested, kill Yusuf or cast him to another land, meaning we're sick and tired of this. How about we just get rid of Yusuf so our father will have all attention towards us. Kill Yusuf or cast him out to another land. The countenance of your father will then be only for you, meaning your father's attention and love will only be for you, and you will be after that a righteous people. Meaning, let's just commit the sin, and after that we'll become pious. Let me just go to this party once, and then after that I will become pious. Let me just, commit a lie or cheat this once, then I will become righteous again. That was the attitude of the people of the 10 older kids of Yaqub alayhi salam. Said a speaker amongst them. It is said that maybe the eldest amongst the 10 brother, he had a bit of a reasoning, and he said, "Do not kill Yusuf, but throw him into the bottom of the well." Meaning, do not be so zalim that you kill your brother, but throw him into the well. And onto the well, some travelers will pick him up if you would do something. Meaning, if you are so hell-bent on harming him, do not kill him. He's your brother. Just let's get rid of him. Let's throw him in the well, and maybe a traveler will pass by and will pick up Yusuf. So they did that. So they planned for it, and now the challenge was, how will they convince Yaqub alayhi salam to send Yusuf with them? Because Yusuf alayhi salam used to hang out with Yaqub alayhi salam constantly. So they plotted, they created a plan. They said to their father, قالوا يا أبانا ما لك? What's the matter? You don't trust us? Oh, father, why don't you trust us with Yusuf? Well, indeed, we are for him sincere counselors. وَإِنَّ لَهُ لَنَاصِحُونَ. We are his brothers. We love him. Why don't you trust him with us? Why don't you let him play with us? We're going to go out. Why don't you let him hang out with us? أرسلوا معنا. Send him with us tomorrow so that he may eat and well and play, meaning we'll take him out to the woods, he'll play with us, he'll eat, he'll enjoy, he'll hunt, we'll hunt together. And indeed, we will be his guardians. We will protect him. He's so young, we are strong, we will protect him. Yaqub alayhi salam could sense, parents know their children. So he could sense that something is not right. So he, as a father, shared his concern that indeed it saddens me that you should take him. And I fear that a wolf would eat him while you are of him unaware. He did not want to say that I don't trust you, my children. So he reworded his statement. He said, I'm just afraid that while you're busy, a wolf might eat him or some harm will come to Yusuf alayhi salam. So the kids replied, they said, well, if a wolf should eat him while we are a strong clan, indeed we should then be losers. Meaning if a wolf comes and eats Yusuf, while the 10 of us are there protecting, then the shame on us. This is what basically this ayah is saying. Then shame on us for being these 10 people who are considering ourselves usba. وَنَحْنُ usba وَإِنَّا إِذًا لَخَاسِرُونَ. So when they took him out and agreed to put him into the bottom of the well, so Yusuf alayhi salam went with them. And then they took him and they put him in the bottom of the well. But we inspired him, meaning we inspired Yusuf. Imagine a young child of about 7 and 8 years old put into the well, the terror, the screams he would do. Because Allah had already started communicating with him through dreams, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired him that he will be freed eventually. He put, he gave sakina to his heart. We inspired him that you will surely inform them someday about this affair of theirs while they do not perceive your identity. Allah inspired Yusuf alayhi salam, a day will come when you will tell them about what they did to you. A day will come, but right now you do sabr. And they came to their father at night weeping, meaning after doing this crime, they come to their father weeping, oh my God, doing the best drama they could pull off. And they said, قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا نستبق وتركنا يوسف عند متاعنا فأكله الذئب. They said, oh, our father, indeed we weren't racing each other. We did a competition, we were racing with each other and left Yusuf with our possessions and food. And then what happened? By the time we come back, the wolf had eaten him. وَمَا أَنْتَ بِمُؤْمِنٍ لَنَا وَلَوْ كُنَّا صَادِقِينَ. But you would not believe us even if we were truthful. Many such gaslighters. So they use like reverse psychology on Yaqub alayhi salam and they say, but you're not going to believe us because you never believe us. Subhanallah al-Azim. And to give a proof what they did, they brought upon his shirt with false blood. They put the blood of like an animal that they hunted on the shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam and they gave it to the father. And the father looked at it and he said, قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. Rather, your souls have enticed you to something. The father did not believe them. He said, no, it is something, you have done something that your souls enticed you to do. Your nafsul amara took over you and you have done something. It is not the wolf. And then he said, فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. What a beautiful patience. Meaning, for me, now there's nothing left but to do the beautiful patience. Do patience beautifully. Wallahul musta'an. And Allah is the one whose help is sought. Ala ma tasifun, against that which you describe. Highlight this part. Fasabrun jameel wallahul musta'an ala ma tasifun. This should be our attitude when a calamity befalls us. This is the attitude. Then what happened to Yusuf alayhi salam while he's in the well? After 3 days, it's known that he stayed in the well for about 3 days. And there came upon a company of travelers. A traveler was passing by and they wanted to pull out water from the well. So when they did so, Yusuf alayhi salam clinged onto the bucket and he came out with the bucket. And there came a company of travelers. Then they sent their water drawer, meaning somebody who to pull out the water, and he let down his bucket. He said, good news, قال يا بشرى هذا غلام. This is the boy. Good news. We found a free boy that we can take and sell and get money from. And they concealed him. They concealed him right away so that nobody would like come looking for him. And they concealed him as a merchandise. And Allah was knowing of what they did. And they sold him for a reduced price, meaning they did not value Yusuf. They did not know who Yusuf alayhi salam was. So they wanted to get rid of him right away before somebody else comes to claim him. So sort of like child trafficking. So they trafficked him for a few dirhams. And they were concerning him of those content with little, meaning they could have gotten a lot for him because it was Yusuf alayhi salam, but they had no clue the value of what they were possessing. And the one from Egypt who bought him said to his wife, so who bought him was the minister of Egypt, Aziz. And from the biblical stories, we learned that his wife's name was Zuleikha. And the one from Egypt who bought him said to his wife, make his residence comfortable. Akrimi maswahu. Make his residence comfortable. Perhaps he will benefit us. Meaning, if we treat him well in our home, like our own son, he will grow up and he will be of benefit to us. Or we will adopt him as a son. Or meaning, we don't have children, so he will sort of like compensate for this need of ours. And thus we established Yusuf alayhi salam in the land. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established him in Egypt that we might teach him the interpretation of events. Meaning, he was getting raised in his father's house with a lot of enmity and jealousy. And now he is getting raised in a house with a lot of luxuries. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieved him out of his difficulty right away. And Allah is predominant over his affairs, but most of the people do not know. Similarly, sometimes we want something in our lives, but we don't know if it's good for us or not. So Allah changes it and gives us something else that we don't think is good. But through that experience, he wants to teach us something, just like he wanted to teach Yusuf alayhi salam the interpretation of the dreams through this experience. And when Yusuf alayhi salam reached maturity, we gave him judgment. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, when he became like a teenager, like about 17, 18 years old, آتَيْنَهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. So again, wisdom before ilm. We gave him judgment and knowledge. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And thus we reward the doers of good. And she in whose house he was sought to seduce him. So when Yusuf alayhi salam became older, obviously, he became a very beautiful man. He was extremely drop-dead gorgeous. So the wife of Aziz started lusting over him. She developed feelings for him. And when he was at home, she tried to seduce him. And she in his house, he was sought to seduce him. She closed the doors and said, come you. She called him to commit the sin with her. وقالت هيت لك, come here. قال, Yusuf alayhi salam said, معاذ الله, معاذ الله, I seek refuge of Allah. إنه ربي أحسن مثوى. Indeed, he is my master who has made good my residence. إنه لا يفلح الظالمون. Indeed, wrongdoers will not succeed. And she certainly was determined to seduce him, meaning she was so determined to seduce him that he would have inclined to her, meaning she was really enticing him so much that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Yusuf might have also been inclined to her, but had he not seen the proof of his Lord, meaning Allah strengthened his heart. And thus it was what we would avert from him evil and immorality. Indeed, he was of our chosen servants. إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. He was of our chosen servants. Obviously, he controlled himself. He had extreme self-control. I mean, a young man of 17, 18 years old who's never been with a woman before, and the woman comes in obscene clothes trying to seduce him, any man would slip. But Yusuf alayhi salam shows strength of character that he tried to run away from her. وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ, and they both raced to the door because Yusuf alayhi salam tried running to the door so that he could get out of the situation. But Zulaykha also ran after him. وَقَدَّتْ قَمِيصًا, and she tore his shirt from the back. And when he opened the door, Yusuf alayhi salam was successful in opening the door, he saw Aziz standing at the door. So they get caught. The moment they get caught, Zulaykha flips the narrative and plays the victim card. And she says and she cries to Aziz, what should be the punishment of the one who intended evil for your wife, but that he be imprisoned, or a painful punishment? Meaning, instead this person is trying to do haram with your wife, what should be the punishment of Aziz? He's trying to rape me, or he's trying to seduce me. So this was a very difficult situation for Aziz. Yusuf alayhi salam said, it was she who sought to seduce me. Yusuf alayhi salam spoke up that no, it was she. So the matter becomes complicated. They're both blaming each other. So one of the people, the advisors from their family, he said that if the shirt is torn from the front, then she has told the truth, and if it is torn from the back, he's of the liars. Meaning, if the shirt is torn from the back, meaning he is truthful. But if the shirt is torn from the front, then Yusuf alayhi salam is a liar, because maybe he was trying to approach her and she was trying to move away from her, from him, so she tore the shirt. But if he was running away from her, which means she was following him, so she tore the shirt from the back. But the shirt was torn from the back. But his shirt was torn from the back. Then she has lied, and he is of the truthful. So when her husband saw his shirt torn from the back, he said, indeed, it is of the woman's plan, meaning it is your plot, O woman. You did this. Indeed, your plan is great. Yusuf added than Haza. So he asked Yusuf alayhi salam to ignore the matter. He said to not tell anyone, to not let it be known, because he was a famous personality in Egypt. He did not want people talking behind his back that his woman is not satisfied from him and his woman is trying to lust over their servant boy in the house. So he said to Yusuf, Yusuf added than Haza, oh Yusuf, ignore this. And my wife, ask forgiveness for your sin. وَاسْتَغْفِرِي لِذَنْبِكَ. Ask forgiveness for your sin. Indeed, you were of the sinful. So he advises his wife to seek forgiveness. But the news spread. The news spread. The ulama say that maybe the advisor that was in the family who was looking for the shirt, he told someone, and you know the news like this of scandal, sexual scandals, spreads like wildfire. So news spread like wildfire. Or some ulama say that it was maybe Zulaykha herself, she could not contain, she told one friend, and then from one friend it went on to other friends until entire city the women were talking about and blaming and sort of like humiliating Zulaykha and saying that, oh my God, you were lusting over your servant boy. Like, come on, women, what is wrong with you? And the woman in the city said, the wife of Al-Aziz is seeking to seduce her slave boy. He has impassioned her with love, meaning she is completely gone crazy in his love. Indeed, we see her to be in clear error. Indeed, she's lost it. So Zuleika obviously heard this and she did not like it. So she said, but when she heard of their scheming, she sent for them and prepared for them a banquet. She said, okay, I'm going to teach them a lesson. They think that me falling in love with or lusting over Yusuf is craziness. They haven't seen Yusuf. They don't know how beautiful he is and how gorgeous he is and how hard it is for me to control myself. So I'm going to teach them a lesson. I'm going to do a banquet and show them, and then they are all going to be lusting over him too. So just to prove herself righteous, in other words, in a very like twisted way, she does a banquet. So when she heard of their scheming, he sent for them and prepared for them a banquet and gave each one of them a knife and said to Yusuf, come out before them. So when they saw him, they greatly admired him and cut their hands. It is said that the food that she had displayed in front of them, it was sort of kind of meat or fruit that required a knife to be used to cut. So the women, they didn't even think about why they're holding a knife. They were holding a knife in a natural way to cut the food, right? And as soon as Yusuf alayhi salam comes, while they're cutting their food to eat, they cut their hands. And they say, Hasha lillah. وَقُلْنَا Hasha lillah. مَا هَذَا بَشَرًا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا مَلَكٌ كَرِيمٌ. Perfect is Allah. This is not a man. A man cannot be this perfect. A man cannot be this beautiful. This is none but a noble angel. He looks like an angel. He's angelic beauty. Then when she saw, Zulaykha, when she saw people doing that, she said, this is the one you blame me for? Do you see now? Do you see? You were blaming me that why I fell for him. This is why I fell for him. And I certainly sought to seduce him. Now she clearly, openly declares that, yes, I tried to seduce him. Now what? I mean, how could I not? She's defending her bad action. And she said, I certainly sought to seduce him, but he firmly refused. And if he will not do what I order him, meaning if he does not do the deed with me, then I will surely imprison him and he will be one of the debased, and I will make sure that he becomes the lowest of the low. And then not just Zulaykha, but the women of the city also started inciting Yusuf to do the deed with them. And it became very difficult for Yusuf alayhi salam, one man among so many women who all are lusting over him. You can't imagine the amount of fitna this is for this young man at that time. So Yusuf alayhi salam at that time, when he's completely trapped in sin, when he's completely trapped in filth, he's completely trapped around the people, and all the people are advising him to do haram, what does he do? Who does he turn to? He turns to his Rabb and he makes dua. He says, Qala Rabbi Sijni, Rabbi Sijnu ahabbu ilayya mimma yad'unani ilayh. Oh my Lord, prison is more to my liking. Prison is more beloved to me. Loneliness, seclusion is more beloved to me than to which they invite me. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي. And if you do not avert me from their plan, if you do not save me from the plot that they're plotting, asbu ilayhinna, I might incline. Meaning I can only control myself so much. You have to save me from this fitna. Wa akum min al jahilin, and I will be amongst the ignorant. What do we learn from this? Sometimes we are surrounded by friends and people, or in a society. Right now, we're living in a society constantly that is promoting indecency. In times like this, if you're in high school, university, or your group of friends, all is promoting indecency, follow the sunnah of Yusuf alayhi salam and look for seclusion. At that time, it's better for you to be alone with no friends than to be with friends who incite you to do evil. فاستجاب له, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his dua. فاستجاب له ربه فصرف عنه كيدهن. So his Lord responded to him and averted from him their plan. Indeed, he is the hearing, the knowing. Then what happened? When it appeared to them after they had seen the signs that Al-Aziz should surely imprison him for a time. So the people of the city thought that, you know what? The beauty of Yusuf alayhi salam is becoming a fitna for the women in the city. Even though Yusuf alayhi salam is not wrong, he has done nothing wrong, they thought it's better for the society, instead of imprisoning all these women, let's just imprison Yusuf alayhi salam. So Yusuf alayhi salam got imprisoned without justification. He was paying the price of a crime he never committed. He was praying the penance of the other people's crimes. So sometimes in life this happens. We get blamed for things we never did. At that time, remember Yusuf alayhi salam. Okay, I think our para is not done. Let me see. We have about... Okay. I think we only have about 1 page left of this, because then the next topic starts about the story of his life in the prison. And I don't want to start that. I don't want to start that and finish it in the middle, right? Because the juz ends in ayah number 52, I believe. So we'll be in the middle of the story. So inshallah, we will conclude Surah Yusuf here for today. And then we will continue the story of Yusuf alayhi salam from ayah number 30. Yes, from ayah number 36, we will continue. Inshallah, tomorrow, about Yusuf alayhi salam's life in prison and what happens to him after that, because that's like a total new chapter. Okay, jazakumullahu khairan kaseera. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك